Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. You guys are probably like, what the fuck? A new stream? Yeah, because I can't show you guys the old stream now, can I? No, I'm kidding. I was streaming Yu-Gi-Oh earlier, so I was like, hey, cool. This is fine. But then I gotta, what's it called? But then because I have to switch categories, right? And like do the whole thing, I was like, well, it's easier to just end the stream and switch to like the categories like that. So I was like, okay, cool, this is fine, it's okay. But it gave me the time to go get a bite. You know, get a bite, get more water. So hey, that's pretty fucking good, am I right? Did I miss count? You did! Do you want me to open another one? Oh my god, what if I open another one? Do you guys think my heart rate go like insane? Should we do it for science? Today we learn how pandas ruin the world? What? No, I love my pandas. We do not shame our local pandas, guys. We don't. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna grab a second can of monster, so I'll be like awake as fuck. Okay, just give me like two minutes. I'll just run real quick. Okay, I am back. Did it take that long? I don't think so, right? But hi guys, hi. So here is today's playlist. Now we can pick. You guys, oh, it's not showing. Oops. Well, here's today's playlist. You guys can pick what we should watch, but I have compiled this myself. So let me know what you guys want to see. See, I am generous. I'm kidding. I don't know. Trolls got so please. I mean, I think I don't know if we have a video about the trolls. We have the embarrassing fall of the Night Elves by Platinum. Wow. The most persistent villains in Warcraft history. There has to be that one guy, right? What's his face? These are all good? That's what I was thinking. So, hey. So we have like lore related stuff, and then we have like the actual game related stuff that may or may not have been done by my boss. I don't know who put the 3 hours of the history of racials and professions to fall asleep to. Why is there 3+ hours of cut content in WoW to fall asleep to? What if we fall asleep? What if we fall asleep? I love how there's like 4 different like selections in the chat right now. Okay. The embarrassing fall of the troll sounds hilarious. Where is it? Wait, I gotta look for it. Also, there's a video called Why It's Rude to Suck at Warcraft that I kind of want to watch. Surprise nap stream? Guys, what if we watch like the 3-hour video of like the history of racials and professions and fell asleep together? This could be a joint sleeping stream. Think about that. Hi guys, if you guys are just coming in, hi guys. Oh, there's like this video about a plague that wiped out everyone in WoW also. We were talking about that the last time, and like that sounds pretty fun. You know what? We are gonna how about this? I have an idea. What if we shuffled? What if we shuffled it? And then we just watched whatever the shuffle was. But I'm at work. It's okay, Django. It's okay. Bye, hero. Bye, hero. Bye. Have a nice day at work. I love pandas. What are you even saying to me? What if we just shuffled? And then we just watched the first thing that got recommended to us. Hi, Bartek. Hi. I'm good, bestie. Okay, are you ready? This would be silly, because like there's like 7 different suggestions in chat right now, and obviously we can't watch all of them first. If I fall asleep and get fired, Django, every 5 seconds I will scream into the mic so you will wake up. We have Futayuri. We've actually seen that. It's on the channel. Okay, are you ready? Shuffle.
To preface this video,
Saurfang is not honorable. It's the first video that came from the shuffle, guys. None of them are what you guys suggest. This is not what you guys suggested, but this is what YouTube has said. Please watch. So hey. I'm about to go to sleep, Terramon. We could watch a 3-hour. You know what's the thing though? I can't watch like Duologs videos because like I do actually fall asleep to Duologs' voice, which is bad because sometimes when we're in meetings, he says stuff and I'm like, you know. This is so fucked up. This is so sad. Okay, guys, why is Saurfang not honorable? From my boss, who did this? I think this is March 31st. So almost like April Fools, right?
To preface this video, I should say that I'm personally a big fan of Saurfang. He's one of the few Horde leaders in game that both Alliance and Horde members like, both in lore and with the general WoW player base.
Ooh.
But therein lies his problem to an extent. Saurfang believes in his orcish honor and will never do anything to forsake it. Which sure, that's a great character trait for him to have. But because of this character trait of his, Blizzard is kind of forcing this ideal that anything he does is right.
Oh.
Even though his idea of honor is vapid at best. Now, before I get into the point with Saurfang, let me take a moment to talk a little bit about Sylvanas, and how she relates directly to Saurfang's story. Many people disagree with her actions for obvious reasons. She's a no-nonsense Forsaken willing to do dirty things to win.
Okay.
And when she does, she's probably one of the most successful leaders when it comes to battles won or victories denied, and has a history of doing anything possible, even underhanded methods, to win.
I want you guys to know one thing though. I am very susceptible to like propaganda, so 100% I'm gonna be, at the end of this video, I'm gonna be like, this makes sense. This makes sense like 100%. When the hero become the Duologs, see, he has alternate channels. And his Yu-Gi-Oh! One is called the Duologs. Hiruma Red X and the Duologs are the same people. And they both happen to be my boss.
A little backstory for Sylvanas' military victories and accomplishments. When Arthas attacked with his unstoppable undead army, she was so good at pushing him back that when Arthas finally did break through their defenses, because one of their elves betrayed them, he went out of his way to raise Sylvanas as one of his personal servants. When she broke free of Arthas' control, she nearly succeeded in killing him, and only failed because she tried to kill him slowly, and wanted him to suffer, which gave Kel'Thuzad enough time to save him. After being stuck in the middle of enemy territory with only a handful of undead under her control, she used her banshees to possess the bodies of strong monsters in the forest to stage a surprise attack on Varimathras and his men, quickly defeating him and getting the Dreadlord on her side. She then staged another surprise attack on a second Dreadlord in the area, where she used her banshees to mind control his men and successfully assassinated him, freeing the humans under his control, and then forging an alliance with those human soldiers. Then she used her new human soldiers as kind of a meat shield to successfully siege Lordaeron and defeat the third Dreadlord. When Garrosh orders her to take Gilneas, she successfully captures the city despite them receiving aid at the last second. She staged a successful surprise attack on Tedrassil and took it out, where Garrosh failed in Ashenvale before ever getting close. She successfully defended Lordaeron when the Alliance attacked, and
Is she actually like the most successful villain though? Like being for reals? Cause like, what? Like this makes sense. This checks out, right? But yeah, if you guys are just joining back in, hi guys, hi.
The only reason they broke through was because Jaina came in and saved them at the last second. Afterwards, she successfully trapped all of the major Alliance leaders in her room and would have killed them if, again, it wasn't for Jaina teleporting them out of there and then saving them at the last second. She may have done a lot of morally questionable things to achieve her victories, but her results are there to see. There's a reason she's a fan-favorite character. She's interesting, gets results, and is proactive in her story rather than reactive. That's why a compelling villain is interesting to watch. A villain, by their very nature, is trying to bring change to the world and requires a very proactive effort in order to bring about that change, which opens up a lot of character moments as they go out into the world and try to get things done.
I mean,
whereas a hero can only ever react to bad things happening and is more limited in scope. Not to say Sylvanas is entirely a villain though, she's pretty justified in her distrust of the Alliance, a point even Saurfang had to agree with her on. The Alliance has proved on multiple occasions that they act with aggression without provocation. They're not the beacons of peace and tranquility Alliance players like to make them out to be. Both the times the Blood Elves tried to rejoin the Alliance, they were betrayed or pushed aside. The Goblins were gunned down and left stranded on an island while trying to flee their homeland that was destroyed during the Cataclysm.
You know? Is he low-key cooking? Is Dualox low-key cooking? By the way, we call him Dualox and not Hiruma Red X because I've been calling him Dualox for like, nearly 3 years now, 3-4 years now. I can't change to Hiruma Red X. I'm sorry, guys. He is forever the Dualox to me. But yeah, we are currently watching Propaganda, and I think he's low-key spitting, by the way. But also, before anything else, I almost forgot, but it's time. RQ1, thank you so much for the resub. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, are you guys ready? Did you hear that? Oh, hold up. This Hiruma guy is pretty good at making propaganda. Did he make one this year? Did we watch this year's propaganda? Let me check. If Hiruma Vidx didn't upload a video this year, I'm gonna be so sad. He hasn't uploaded one yet. He hates me. He hates me and he doesn't want me to be happy. This is monster number 2. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
The Alliance attacked a Tauren town full of innocent civilians merely to get a foothold in Horde territory. Gen Greymane defied orders and started a war with the Forsaken and Stormheim by attacking them. And of course, after first becoming a Forsaken, Sylvanas, along with her people, were hunted down and killed by the Alliance.
Yeah?
All this to say, Sylvanas is entirely justified in her war against the Alliance. There are countries
Honestly,
and cultures
yeah.
in the real world that still hold grudges over things that happened to them hundreds or sometimes thousands of years ago by a group of people. And the bad things the Alliance have done to the Forsaken aren't even that long ago. And one of the go-to arguments I hear against Sylvanas is that the Alliance is willing to make peace now. So she's just being a warmonger for the sake of it. Which brings up the old case of intentions versus actions.
Ooh.
People judge themselves based on their intentions, and others based on their actions.
Uh-huh.
We all know that Anduin's intentions about making peace with the Horde were real. But the past actions of the Alliance tell a different tale. Sylvanas isn't judging Anduin and the Alliance based on their intentions, she's doing it based on their past actions. She's entirely justified in her reasoning, a fact that even Saurfang agreed with. So, how does this all relate to Saurfang?
She's not wrong then, right? Like, if she's judging them based on like their past actions and they kind of fucked her over like 1 billion times. My boy Anduin was like losing this battle. Like there was no winning for him, huh? So sad. His Horde wasn't even nice to Forsaken. That's true. Oh my god, everyone hates the Forsaken. Shit.
Fang.
But they're also kind of fucky, right? The Forsaken. Okay, bye, Jacob. Come back soon. The Forsaken, they do like experiments and stuff on people, right? So they're also bad. So there's just no winning.
Well, Saurfang went along with Sylvanas' plan until she decided to burn the tree. He was fine with killing Malfurion to destroy the hope of the Night Elves, and in fact, he's the one who came up with the plan to use a whole bunch of rogues to assassinate all of the Sentinels in Ashenvale. Within a day, Saurfang began to reveal the true plan, but only to those who would execute the first strike. It took a long time to brief large numbers of rogues in any plan. These were not individuals who liked crowds or lectures, so he had to do it 2 at a time.
Damn!
And he planned most of the invasion that led up to Teldrassil, but then pulled out at the last second because he did a dishonorable blow. This was a dishonorable blow? Now, this is where his sense of honor starts to be a little shaky. Remember that Saurfang is the one who came up with the plan to hire rogues to attack the Night Elves' towns before they had a chance to defend themselves or retaliate. None of those attacks really involved facing the opponent in open battle, since 99% of those were surprise attacks. Saurfang attacking Malfurion in the middle of battle while facing off against his commander? Well, there's nothing dishonorable about that. Even when Tyrande came to save Malfurion, she asked why Saurfang spared his life, to which he replied that he struck without honor and didn't deserve to kill him. Tyrande then chastised Saurfang about this, and told him he was stupid, but thankful for not killing her husband. And since one of the big reasons they were even invading Teldrassil was to kill Malfurion, Sylvanas ordered the burning of the tree, something she wouldn't have done if Malfurion had died.
So did he literally throw? Was he just throwing then? Huh? Wait. Okay, this part I didn't I didn't know, right? Because this wasn't like explained in like the cinematic. We just kind of saw like her burn the tree, but it was just to kill Malfurion, and they didn't even kill him. So they were like, "Well, fuck it, I'll just burn a tree." Huh? 意味わかんない. Writing is pretty whacking BFA. Okay, I think I need to sit down and ask someone like, what is the definitive ranking when it comes to like the different expansions? Like, which one has like and in terms of the expansions, like which has the best storytelling? Just off of storytelling alone, right? Yeah, the cinematics only don't tell you like the entirety of the story, so like lore videos are what helps me fill in the gaps. But to be very frank with you guys, I think that like the lore videos are also like, you know that like one meme of that one guy who's just like looking around and there's like a ton of like things on like a pegboard. That's me right now. My eyes are like crossed. My eyes are like, and like if you guys hear typing in the back, by the way, usually it's me googling like certain like characters so I can read like what happened too. Fuck. Malfurion is the first and most powerful druid, so solid plan. Legion, Wrath of the Lich King or Legion for best storytelling. Warcraft 3 cutscene movie. I think we did we not? Yeah. I think we did, but like, there's still so much like lore behind it. I don't know. Is usually considered the best expansion by the community. Okay. Yeah, okay, hold up. Let me ask that man real quick. Wait, can I call you so I can ask you a question? Bestie. Usually if I hit him with the bestie, he's like okay. BFA in Shadowlands Sylvanas story arc was written by a guy who hated her character, so she became hated. Okay. Huh. So basically, okay, can I ask you guys a question? Are like expansions like mandatory? Okay. I'm on stream and it's WoW. Oh, hold up. It's WoW related. Okay. It's like for Wrath is the best. Okay, so my question, right, is do you have to buy all of the expansions? Or can you pick and choose? Okay, hold up. I need to throw his Fugi tech on. Okay. Hi. Ha. Hello, boss.
Hello.
Hi. Oh my god, did I wake you?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Because we're like watching your like Saurfang is not honorable video right now, and like, which like expansion do you think has like the best like storyline?
The expansion with the best storyline.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a hard one. Probably Legion.
Okay, he's a Legion guy. We're like, I'm like watching it right now, and like there's so much about this video that's like filling in the gaps. Also, like, okay, so we're watching the Saurfang video, right? And I'm at the part where it's like, oh, Saurfang could have killed Malfurion but didn't, so Sylvanas burnt the tree instead. Like, was that technically like Saurfang throwing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's what I wanted to know. So he fucking threw for the Horde then.
He did. They were there to kill Malfurion, and then at the last second, he just didn't do it.
So it's kind of an L on his part then.
Well, I mean, it was a dramatic choice that was like forced onto him for like a plot contrivance. It was, you know, there's no reason Sylvanas couldn't have just finished it himself.
So they all threw.
It was kind of like a poorly written scene, in my opinion.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because I was like confused. Also, do you want to do like a tier list with me?
A tier list about what?
Ranking the expansions based on like which has the best story?
I can if you want. But why would you want a male on your stream?
Because this male understands more about WoW than I do, considering you played this game for like a billion years.
And I've read all the lore books.
Oh, sorry, also you've read all the lore books. Guys, are you that offended by having this man on my stream? Oh, okay, no, chat says you're not a man, you're a spider. There's a difference. They can't kill Malfurion, he's extremely OP. Is he?
Well, no, like, Sylvanas is also OP, and she's the one who, like, beat him up. So, like, he can die, it's just very hard to take him down. Like, Malfurion was already defeated. All Saurfang had to do was just, like, finish him off.
Okay.
So, it was possible for Saurfang to do it, because he's definitely strong enough to, like, cut his head off or whatever.
But he didn't.
He chose not to. Because they say a loon probably stayed his hand.
That's more lore drop. Damn.
Yeah, it's a plot contrivance, though. It's not a very good writing point, to be honest. I think they just did it just because they're kind of bad at writing a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense then. So it's just that BFA just has terrible writing?
Yeah, kind of.
I see. Okay. Did you just wake up? Did we wake you?
No, I've been up for an hour.
Oh,
Just,
okay.
rotting in bed.
You're like a girl failure.
I'm too successful to be a failure.
I mean, not like that, but like, you know, you know what? What is the term for like girl failure
I can't
but
be a
boy?
girl failure because, like, I shower every day and I wash my dishes and I do my own laundry.
Okay, what is that supposed to mean?
Girl failures don't do that shit. I also fold my clothes as soon as they're done, instead of just leaving them in a pile.
Are you arguably a better, like, are you arguably more wife material than anyone else in, like, Glitch Stars?
Yeah, easily. I'm a competent adult.
Okay, bye, Dualox. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Bye.
We got called out, guys. I had to save us. We had to run. We had to dip. We had to dip, guys. He was calling us out. Okay? We got called the fuck out. That was so bad. Okay, well, we got our answer. So basically, Saurfang threw, but Sylvanas also threw. And it was just shitty writing. I don't think, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think at this point I might be a bit burnt out of WoW, considering I restarted it like 4 times. I don't know. There's just something about like playing like hardcore WoW, restarting 4 times, and then losing my fucking mind. Who doesn't fold their laundry right away? Honestly, true. Who doesn't? I fold my laundry right away because, like, if not, it gets crinkly, right? Anyways, 3, 2, 1.
And it's not like the Alliance are shy about invading a city to kill a major leader either. Just look at Dazara Lore. To quote the passage by Sylvanas in the short story A Good War, this battle was not about a piece of land. Even Saurfang knew that.
Okay.
Taking the World Tree was a way to inflict a wound that could never heal. Losing their homes and their leaders would have ended the Kaldorei as a nation, if not a people. Even the loss of one leader would have been enough to create a tide of despair.
Ooh.
The wounds of this battle would have bled, festered, decayed, and rotted the alliance from the inside out. Anduin Wrynn would have lashed out in a final, desperate war, looking for a miracle because only a miracle would have saved them. But a miracle already had. A miracle granted by the honorable hand of a foolish old orc, and an overconfident war chief, best to lay blame where it belonged.
Okay.
This was her mistake as much as Saurfang's. This conquest of Darnassus would have rattled the Kaldorei people. They would have grieved for their lost, feared for their imprisoned, and trembled at the thought of the Horde ransacking their homes. But they would not fall to despair. Not anymore. Malfurion's impossible survival would give them hope. Their wound would heal. What Saurfang did here kind of made no sense.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And that's because Orcish honor doesn't really make any sense. So let's talk about Orcish honor.
Okay.
What even is it? Orcish honor could be best described by their war cry, Loktar Ogar, which roughly translates to victory or death.
Do you think Duloc speaks like fluent Orcish? Honestly, I'm shocked he went for hardcore first instead of normal run first. See, you can blame that on Duloc once again. We are name dropping. Blame it on him because he was like, hey, don't do retail. Retail's boring. Do hardcore. And then we just kept dying and dying and dying and dying. And he was like, oh, why do you guys keep dying? And I was like, well, it's not like we know where to go, right? So, you know, that was bad. That was bad. Orcs are the samurai of their world. They kind of are. I feel like if there is like a Chuny class in like a game, it would be like the orcs.
The main mantra of the Horde is blood and honor, with honor being the thing they hold above everything else. To honor one's clan, to honor yourself, two things drilled into every orc since birth.
Okay.
And since honor places such a large role in orcish society, it's kind of a surprise that there is no consistent definition of it amongst orcs' clans.
Mm-hmm.
What honor is to an orc changes depending on what clan you're in, or at what point you existed in the Horde. As ever since the Horde changed hands from different clans, they also changed the definition of what honor meant. To the Frostwolf clan, honor is pretty consistent with some real-world definitions of honor, where they would respect their elders and fellow clan members, and treat other people with decency in the same way that they would want to be treated, and to also protect their clan while not forsaking their code of conduct, which is generally to be decent people. The Warsong clan has a more Spartan definition of honor, where strength is king and whatever is honorable is decided by whoever is the strongest. The weakest of one contaminates the strength of the all in their eyes, and to this end, they exile people that forsake their honor and drown their infants who aren't born strong enough. The Blackrock clan, the one Saurfang's from, has a code of honor very similar to the Warsong clan, except they also valued blacksmithing and mining in addition to military strength. The Blackrock clan was the most prominent clan in the original wars on Azeroth, as both the first and second war chiefs of the Horde were Blackrock orc members, and they were the first clan to learn how to use fel magic by the Legion. So
that was his waifu, right? Oh, I remember the waifu. The wife was like, he was like, no, you gotta live, and she was like, no, let me die. It's honorable, something like that, right? Classic is 100% knowledge game. Starting hardcore is kind of insane. Yeah, tell that to my boss. He was like, it'd be funny if you guys died. And then we end up dying so much out of like sheer stress and panic that like it didn't work out. Random to bring up, but it's been racking my brain. So you're an office worker, got tired of being an office worker, and now just chills and plays mobile games and reacts to stuff. Yes and no. I was an office worker who would like come home and stream after work, right? But then, you know, 2020, 2022, 2023, everybody and their mom got laid off, and you know, I got laid off too. So now I'm just a guy who just streams, you know? I'm just a streamer dude now. While I'm looking for a job, but like, ugh. The economy, everyone fucking hates me. What can I say? Honestly, if you don't understand vanilla WoW or WoW in general, hardcore is a really bad idea. Yeah. Not great. His wife was dying, accepting her death, and he trashed her for not fighting till the last. I forgot he did that. Oh, wait, is he kind of toxic? Is he kind of toxic, guys? Wait. Damn, maybe Saurfang isn't husbando material. We fell in 2023 so we could rise in 2025. 2025 is the year we make it big enough where I don't have to find another job, because holy shit, I am so underpaid. I do like freelance translating, and sometimes the translation, like the game publishers, they pay you like actual like peanuts. It is so sad.
For most of the Orcish clans, besides the Frostwolf clan, honor to them was basically blood and glory. To win was honorable, and to lose was dishonorable. That is to say,
Ooh.
there's no real definition of what it is. Honor basically is just whatever each orc thinks it is. When Thrall reformed the Horde, his definition of honor was pretty in line with the Frostwolf clan, except he extended his value of honor to include all races, not just orcs. It was basically his only difference. So exactly which of these codes of honor does Saurfang subscribe to? Luckily, we don't need to guess, as thanks to Saurfang's extensive involvement in WoW lore throughout the years, we have a quote from him directly.
Okay.
An orc, a true orc warrior, wishes for one thing: to die in the glory of battle against a hated enemy. His other quotes basically just talk about how you should never forsake your honor. But the quote I just read is a pretty good summation of what ideal Saurfang has. His idea of honor is a more battle-oriented one that wishes for death on the battlefield, something that Saurfang thinks a lot about in the Good War short story.
That's
He's been
true.
through so many wars and has always come out alive, where many other people have died, and he's kind of envious that they got to die in battle. As a young orc, he had expected a quick, honorable death in battle. These days, he wondered if he was cursed to outlive everyone. Saurfang is obsessed with his honorable death, and before the battle for Lordaeron begins, he decides to basically commit suicide by walking into the Alliance army by himself. Because in his mind, it would be an honorable death, as
Is our boy just traumatized? Is that it? He's like, I should be put down in battle, and like, but he's like so good that he just doesn't die, and he's just like, well, shit. It's just trauma. Okay, great. That was Hellscream, not Saurfang. My bad. I get so confused with all of the names in this story, right? I only remember like the key people, like the ones who like really show up. When you become famous, will you remember us? Of course I will, Jingo. Also, we are salted peanuts because we can't afford honey. Haha. He lost his wife, his son died, then was raised and died again. He's just traumatized. Holy shit. Okay, never mind. Maybe Saurfang is like, he's not honorable because our boy went through like hell and back. Okay.
he would technically die on the battlefield. To which point, good old Zappy Boy comes in and basically talks some sense into him. That, no, dying pointlessly isn't honorable, it's just selfish. And you need to do something to earn an honorable death. So later on, Saurfang compromises, and decides to get his honorable death by buying time for the Horde to retreat, and faces the Alliance army on his own. Sylvanas tells him this is stupid, but lets him do it anyway because she is very aware of his suicidal tendencies and even mocks him for it. But it doesn't stop there. Saurfang's sense of honor does extend to other things besides dying in battle.
Okay.
He also decides that something is honorable randomly when he feels like it. Take this quote from A Good War. He stood and brushed the dirt off his armor, shrugging away his aches and pains. Malfurion would recover, and when he returned to battle, he would make the Horde pay in blood. Saurfang was certain of it. Still, a great burden had been lifted from his soul. It felt right that Malfurion had survived. It felt honorable.
Okay, what?
Since Saurfang's sense of honor is arbitrary, and something he makes up on the spot, that means Saurfang basically just does whatever he wants, and whatever he wants to do is honorable. Whatever he doesn't like is dishonorable, which means his sense of honor literally means nothing. It's just using the word honor to justify his feelings.
Yeah, what
you know
the
who
heck?
else had a huge sense of orcish honor? Let me show you this little scene from the Siege of Orgrimmar.
Do you remember nothing of honor, of glory
Garrosh!
on the battlefield? You who would parley with the humans, who allowed warlocks to practice their dark magics right under our feet.
Wait. Was Garrosh honorable then? What does this mean? What is this? Also, sign out, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the basement. Welcome. Hi, Links. Okay. Are we looping back to Garrosh did nothing wrong? Is this video just a full loop into Garrosh did nothing wrong, guys? Oh my god.
You are weak. We are the Orcish Horde, the true Horde. We die, bloody and thrashing on the field of battle, like true orcs should. You are an orc no longer, and speak for none but yourself. You betrayed our people to forge your fragile alliances, and I will take great pleasure in tearing them apart.
Damn.
Garrosh did everything under his own assumption of what Orcish honor meant. In his mind, everything he did was honorable, and he had every right to try to take over the world and force orc supremacy, because it was the honorable thing to do by his standards. Garrosh even chastised Thrall for not having enough honor. What Garrosh is acting on and assessing as being honorable is almost no different from what Saurfang does. They both arbitrarily decide what honor means to them, and then push this belief on everyone else. If Saurfang is considered honorable, then so is Garrosh. And if Garrosh is considered honorable, then honor means nothing.
Wait, is he kind of cooking though? Like, is he like low-key right? If you really think about it, right? If everyone's honor is based on their own personal judgment, then what is honor? Can a person commit crime in the name of honor? Am I being taken in by the propaganda again? Has the propaganda machine gotten me again, guys? Fuck.
Or does it? You might be thinking I'm just harping on the technical definition of the word honor, and there is a point for that. What honor really means to an orc is their personal ideology. An ideology is a collection of beliefs and values that a person holds purely for reasons that make sense to them. Garrosh's ideology was orc supremacy and to crush his enemies beneath his feet. So he attributed this to his orcish honor, and anyone who didn't agree with his ideology didn't have honor. Saurfang's ideology is to die in battle against a hated enemy. So anyone who doesn't subscribe to these ideologies doesn't have honor. Except Saurfang will randomly add stuff to a sense of honor, or not randomly. Generally, if something is morally on the good side, that can be attributed to his honor.
Okay.
But it's not so cut and dry. It's more complicated than that, and I think that's kind of what makes Saurfang an interesting character. He's not simple. He is not fully morally good. He has flaws and makes mistakes, which makes for interesting character stories. Nobody likes a character who's a goody two-shoes and perfect in every way and never does anything wrong, and that's definitely not Saurfang. But I see a lot of people who are on Saurfang's side against Sylvanas' Horde that champion his sense of honor as if it means something.
Okay.
And like to say things like, Saurfang will bring honor back to the Horde, which to me is such a nonsense statement. But I do understand what they're getting at. They mean it in a way that they agree with Saurfang's ideology over Sylvanas's. So let's go over Sylvanas and Saurfang's ideology when it comes to the Horde. For one, they both care about the Horde, if for different reasons. They both agree that the Alliance are not perfect beacons of peace. They both agree on waging war against Teldrassil. Now, the point in which they disagree is how far they're willing to go for these ends. Saurfang was fine with marching through Ashenvale and Darkshore and killing all of the enemy soldiers in his path. And was even thought of the idea of using rogues to kill a large portion of those soldiers before the war even officially started. Saurfang was fine with fighting the Alliance's army in defense of Lordaeron, but wasn't okay with Sylvanas' plague. And that's where Sylvanas and Saurfang have this little exchange.
I had to see it for myself. Was this your plan all along? Is this how you meant to achieve victory? This honorless travesty?
Honor means nothing to a corpse, Saurfang. You have the luxury of underestimating death. But it is something with which I am intimately familiar. Maybe you don't care if your people die so long as it's honorable, but to me, this horde is worth saving. Anyone who disagrees does not deserve to stand among us.
By
Ooh.
Saurfang's ideology, he would rather let the Horde die if it meant being honorable, and Sylvanas is willing to do anything to win. And this is the crux of their differences. They both agree on the same goals, but disagree with the methods used to accomplish those goals. And Sylvanas did try to do things Saurfang's way, but he ruined things for himself. If you want your enemies to bleed to death, you inflict a wound that cannot heal. That is why I need you to make the plan. High Overlord, Sylvanas said. The moment our strike begins, there will be no turning back. We can divide the Alliance only if the war to conquer Darnassus does not unite them against us. That only happens if the Horde wins an honorable victory. And I am not blind. The Horde does not trust me to wage war that way.
Okay.
When Saurfang failed Sylvanas by sparing Malfurion because of his vapid sense of honor, she had no choice but to take things into her own hands, which did not sit well with Saurfang at all. If Saurfang just stuck to his plan, Sylvanas never would have burned the tree down. And Saurfang knows this, and that's why he tried to kill himself. Saurfang isn't honorable, he's selfish. He does things to feel good about himself and to have a chance at dying in battle. And I think it's these character traits that make him an interesting character, and a good foil to Sylvanas' no-nonsense attitude. And considering Blizzard's 2 full cinematics centered around Saurfang, it's a pretty good indication of which side of this ideological battle will win out in the end. But also with the way Blizzard is allowing Horde players to make a choice to side with Sylvanas or Saurfang, does kind of throw that prediction into the air a little bit. Saurfang is not honorable, and that's okay.
Guys, what do you think? I mean, you know, I know this was a joke, like, video, but still, like, shit, why is he kind of spitting? We've seen all the cinematics. We're watching lore videos just to, like, we're watching lore videos so that, like, you know, we know exactly, what we're, so we know exactly what happened in between. Because apparently the cinematics doesn't, like, they don't fill in all the gaps, so yeah. Saurfang is homie and sometimes homies stumble. Damn. Okay, we're gonna watch, let's see. We will watch Warcraft's most overpowered king. How's that sound? In 3, 2, 1. Who is this, by the way? Warcraft's most overpowered king. Who could it possibly be? This is by Platinum WoW, by the way. Real question, Saurfang smash or pause? Pause because he has too much trauma. I don't think we can, I don't think we can fix him, guys. But hi, Lil Zero, hi. Sylvanas is brutal, but never without good reason. Honestly, true. Like, she did her best for the Horde, right? But she was crazy also, so hey. Who's the Thunder King? Okay, I'm ready. I don't know who the Thunder King is, but also hi, Dual Logs.
World of Warcraft is a fantasy universe, and in a fantasy universe, there has to be some kings. But in Warcraft, all of them kind of suck.
Really?
King Tyrannus Menethil, killed by his own son. King Rostakon, died to the Alliance. King Greymane, King Magni Bronzebeard,
Champion!
and King Varian Wrynn, who... Okay, that was kind of cool. But he also got stabbed by 2 random mobs and then turned to dust.
No!
The unworthy have not yet learned of my power.
Okay.
When the thunder echoes, all other kings, queens, emperors, and rulers tremble in fear because Lei Shen, the Thunder King, is easily the most powerful and impactful ruler Azeroth has ever seen. His history is critical to understanding the ancient legends of Warcraft lore and has remained a fan favorite in the lore community.
Ooh.
Let's find out why.
So congrats to everyone who got their predictions right. Congratulations. Sweet Mizu, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the basement. Welcome. Chat Lei, the Thundercock shit. What? Is that what people call him? Oh my god.
Before we talk about the Thunder King, I need to pay my bills and let you know you're not safe. No one is safe. Unless you have NordVPN, the sponsor
Oh my
of
god.
today's video.
We have to watch
If
the
you're like
sponsors,
me
by the
and
way.
you use the internet to look up obscure lore facts about your favorite fictional characters that no one really cares about, or you just use the internet, you are at risk from third parties and your internet service provider spying on your activity.
By the way, to anyone who's asking why are we not skipping the ad, it's because we are watching his content for free, therefore we will be watching the ads too. It is only right, and it is only fair. Hi Joe, welcome in.
That's why I use NordVPN, and there's a deal right now to get a 2-year plan with 1 additional month free with a huge discount. Another great thing about using Nord is it grants you access to region-locked content on the internet with just a click of a button. Did you know that you can get access to Dutch Netflix, which has Lord of the Rings, right now?
Wait, really?
Wow, dat is geweldig. Ik heb NordVPN nodig.
Click the link down below and secure your privacy and maybe even explore Middle-earth with this 2-year plan with 1 additional month free with a huge discount. Nord is so confident in their product that there's also a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, so go to nordvpn.com/platinumwowvpn. Thanks Nord for sponsoring this video. The ad is now over.
Okay. Who are they?
The Mogu were once a race of stone who served the Titans during the Ordering of Azeroth. After the Curse of Flesh transformed them into fleshy, mortal creatures, everything changed.
Oh
With
no.
flesh came the emotions of weakness, fear, greed, and anger that drove the Mogu into a constant state of internal conflict.
Ooh.
This period of time was known as the Age of 100 Kings, a time where the southern reaches of Azeroth were thrown into a constant state of warfare as the Mogu struggled to overpower one another. Long ago, their Titan Keeper Master Wrathion had just disappeared, leaving his servants aimless, confused, and desperate.
Okay.
That was over a millennia ago, and still, some Mogu desperately cling to the idea that he may one day.
I love this image. What is this? Hold on. Why is this such a good image, guys? Wait. Mogu mentioned? Oh my god, it's Mogu, my company mate. I love it. No.
They return. Lei Shen was raised during this time of conflict. He learned the art of warfare from his father, who was one of the many warlords who fought for power among the Mogu. Even in his young life, Lei Shen saw the Mogu's infighting and squabbling as a destruction of their race's great potential. The young Mogu
Damn.
was forced to confront this firsthand as he watched his father be murdered by one of his closest advisors.
What?
Instead of taking his father's place, Lei Shen chose exile and decided to wander the lands and meditate on the failures of his kind. Typically in Mogu culture, it was customary that when a warlord was killed, their rivals would then slay all of the slain warlord's family to snuff out their lineage.
What?
But when the Mogu saw Lei Shen simply give up and walk away, they assumed that he had gone mad and would not pose a threat ever again. But oh, how wrong they were. As Lei Shen traveled, he pondered the folly of his people and their circumstances. Where did Master Ra go? Was the Curse of Flesh a part of some master plan the Titans had created? Was this all just a test to prove the loyalty of the Mogu? Were the Titans they worshipped waiting for them to be enlightened by some new discovery? And the question Lei Shen pondered the most: how has World of Warcraft been out for 17 years and there is still no ducks in this game?
How
That
are there no
conundrum
ducks?
he was most befuddled by. Lei Shen realized that if he seeked the answers to his inquiries, he'd have to find Master Ra. For years, Lei Shen searched and... For years, Lei Shen searched endlessly to find his master once again. Eventually, he found an entrance to a hidden vault north of the Vale that once held great importance to the Mogu.
Whoa.
Within the stillness of the vault, Wrathion sat quietly. The Titan Keeper gave no reaction to Lei Shen. The Mogu questioned him, asking what the purpose they now had. Why had he just stopped contacting his servants? Was this all according to plan? And where are the ducks, Master Ra? Where are they? Days and weeks passed, and not a word was given. Lei Shen then realized that Master Ra was not quietly contemplating some master plan. He had just given up. This enraged Lei Shen. Master Ra was supposed to be a literal instrument of the Titan's will, but now he had just abandoned their purpose to do literally nothing.
Time grows short.
Lei Shen's words had finally gotten a reaction out of Ra, and the Titan Keeper led him to see the reasoning for his absence. The two traveled to the Thundering Mountain, a hostile, cursed place no mortal has ever traveled to before.
Okay, genuine question. Which expansion is this from? Because like I don't feel like there's like a, what is it? I don't feel like this was in the cinematic, so I definitely don't know any of this. The Mist of Pandaria. Oh, okay, that's the one. Also, Sweet Mizu and Dirge of Sorrow, thank you so much for the follows. Thank you. You guys are gonna hate me, but I need to be right back because I gotta pee really bad. I know, you're gonna hate me. I'm sorry. I just know that the YouTube comments are gonna be like, stop, what's with all these cuts, editor? It's because I need to pee. I am very sorry, guys. I just gotta run. I'll be back really fast, okay? Okay, guys. I'm back. It was my fault. This is my second can of Monster Energy. I blame it on that. I blame it on that. But I'm back and we're ready. Okay? Well, now we are getting into Where's Ra? And then we're gonna watch the new king in town. Now in 3, 2, 1. Ooh.
There is no hope. The coming threat will consume us all.
Ooh.
Within the depths of the mountain, Wrathion showed him the last remaining essence of the slain titan Amenthul. The Pantheon was dead. All of the titans were killed thousands of years ago. Sargeras had killed them all, and either his army of demons or the horrors of the void would consume all of the universe.
It's Sargeras all along, our favorite, like, boy failure? Oh my god.
Wrathion had simply given up after he found out all the titans were dead and didn't even bother telling the Mogu. It was pointless to fight back. The titans had lost, and their downfall was inevitable.
That's crazy.
Delay the inevitable.
Wrathion hoped that showing this truth would make Lei Shen give in to the same despair, but it actually had the adverse effect.
Okay. What? No.
Lei Shen found Master Ra's despair as pitiful. He had hidden the truth from the Mogu. He let them fall into madness. He let them fall into a constant cycle of pain and misery after his abandonment. Wrathion was no demigod. He was a faulty tool who lacked the vision of their masters. If all of the titans were dead and their servant refused to continue the Pantheon's glorious legacy, he would do so himself.
Does he low-key have a point though? Wait, I feel like he does have a point.
It is said that Lei Shen ripped the very heart out of Wrathion.
Oh.
The power was like nothing he had ever felt before. No longer was he a servant. He was now a god.
Oh. Oh no.
Lei Shen's most devoted followers traveled to the Thundering Mountain and dropped to their knees once they saw his glorious new form. They said, "We will call you the Lightning King." Lei Shen simply scoffed in response.
Lightning strikes in an instant and is over in a flash. But thunder proclaims the coming of the storm. Thunder quakes the skies long before the lightning strikes, and thunder echoes in the hills long after the lightning's power is spent. It is thunder that sends animals cowering and fills the hearts of peasants with dread.
I just realized his name is Lei Shen in like Chinese, right? So his name is literally Thunder God. Like his parents named him what they, you know, after his like future career then. Holy shit. Yeah. Literally Lei Shen translates to Thunder God. So like they named him for the job he would eventually get. Kind of insane. Why didn't my parents name me Billionaire? I feel like they set me up for failure. Low-key, I feel like my parents set me up for failure. Well, it's okay. 3, 2, 1.
Let thunder be my herald, so that my power is felt throughout the land. I will be the Thunder King.
Damn.
Duck. Yes. My power cannot be contained.
The Thunder King now demanded that all Mogu bow before him. Once again, their race would be the defenders of Azeroth, and they'd continue the Titan's legacy and restore order once again. Lei Shen utterly crushed all Mogu who defied him. The fortunate ones were
Damn.
killed mercifully, and the unfortunate were locked in chains for centuries until they were properly broken. The Thunder King's iron fist struck fear into the hearts of the Mogu. Some thought he had claimed the powers of the Veil, or was a literal Titan reborn. But soon their fear would turn into devotion when Lei Shen displayed his godlike powers. One of the Thunder King's first of many accomplishments was mastering the use of a Titan device called the Engine of Nalak Shah.
Okay.
With this Titan machinery, he found a way to revert the curse of flesh in some of the Mogu, and restored them to their pure forms.
Oh.
Under the Thunder King's rule, no land was left unconquered, as his army claimed every corner of the Vale. This was the beginning of a prosperous new empire for the Mogu, in a time of darkness for the other races surrounding the Vale.
Damn.
Breakable flesh! You will make a fine slave.
The first to feel the wrath of the Mogu was the Jinyu. The Jinyu realized that they had no chance of fighting Lei Shen's empire alone.
You know, low-key, maybe we should do like a deep dive into Mists of Pandaria. Because I really like Mists of Pandaria as like a concept, but also like there's so many different races that I've never heard of before, and this is so interesting. What does Shen Bao? You gotta give me the context. I have no idea what's going on. We're watching WoW lore because like I like learning about WoW, like World of Warcraft, a lot more than actually playing it. But then again, I only play hardcore, so who knows? But yeah, that's what his name means. And what is billionaire in Chinese? Fu Weng. First name streamer, middle name successful. Them. That's what my parents should have named me, but they named me something else. My parents deadass almost named me Chair in Chinese. Really great. Poison got reincarnated as cultivator. Yeah, in WoW? Yeah, but I think my parents threw. Yeah, they instead of naming me like rich person or successful or like successful streamer. Oh, I'm not sure. I have to look at the Chinese characters for that, Myojin. It's probably just a name then. Yeah, he's here. He that's my boss. Yeah, no, instead they named me fucking Chair, so you know I love that.
And allied themselves with the Hosen, a race.
There's a monkey race? Like straight up baboon race? What? Are you Chinese? I am half Chinese. The other half is Japanese. No. Yeah, there's a monkey race. Okay, I had no idea. Great. I honestly think maybe we should like watch like a deep lore into like Mists of Pandaria. I don't necessarily know if I'll play it, but it would be interesting.
Race of mischievous monkey people who were known for their effective guerrilla tactics. No pun intended there. The alliance proved to be effective as for 40 days and 40 nights, the monkey and the fish people held back the Mogu onslaught.
The monkey and the fish people.
But on the eve of the final battle, the Hosen betrayed them and pledged our loyalty to the Thunder King in hopes of getting preferential treatment. Of course, the Thunder King would never help such pathetic creatures.
Unworthy.
This left the Jinyu severely outnumbered, but they did not go down without a fight. During the skirmish, Jinyu water breakers would conjure bubbles of water and lift the Mogu into the air, only for them to plummet to their deaths.
Make a demonstration of these invaders, such that all nations tremble before me.
Their resistance was impressive, but ultimately futile. One of the Mogu generals named Haquin outsmarted the Jinyu and used their very own fishing spears to wipe out the last remaining resistance, and soon after they were fully conquered by the Thunder King's army.
Stop! That is such a dumb way to die. Oh my god. That's such a dumb way to die. I kind of hate this. Are they just failing? Oh no.
These insects do not know their place.
Lei Shen was so humored by the embarrassing display that they made of the Jinyu, and he crafted his general 100 of the finest golden spears to praise him for his fine work.
What is that dance?
With the monkey people and the fish people conquered, the Mogu marched up north to Kunlai Summit, where the
monkey and this fucking sushi. Oh my god, Platinum WoW is not messing around. Holy shit.
panda people fled to hide from the Thunder King's army. The Mogu marched to the foothills of the mountain. With his godly voice, Lei Shen shouted,
Choose the greatest warrior among you and
Okay.
have him face me in one-on-one combat. Should I win, your people will submit to my rule. Should he win, I shall leave these lands in peace.
He really said 1v1 me. Damn.
Excuse me, do you not know who I am? I am Lei Shen, the mother Thunder King. Answer me now.
They ghosted him? That's insane.
Silence filled the air until a booming voice echoed from the peaks of the mountains, whose power rivaled Lei Shen's.
Challenge accepted.
From the top of the mountain, the august celestial named Zulin, the white tiger, descended downward, and the two godlike beings locked themselves in combat. They fought tooth and nail in a battle that lasted 30 whole days. In the end, Zulin succumbed to the Thunder King's might,
Damn.
but he did not grant him the mercy of death. Instead, the victorious king imprisoned the tiger and chained him at the peak of the mountain so he could watch for all eternity and bask in his failure as the Pandaren served Lei Shen's empire as slaves. The Mogu used the blood, sweat, and tears of the enslaved animal people to expand their empire and created structures like the monolithic Serpent Spine Wall. Okay, one more thing. You might know
Is that a parody of the Great Wall of China? Hold on. I did not. Okay, I was not familiar with Miss Pandaria, but what the fuck? This is so insane. Wait.
that the Pandaren actually worship 3 other gods, and these group of gods are called the August Celestials. Yeah, well, it's only briefly stated in the lore, but Lei Shen beat the crap out of the other 3.
Damn.
The Thunder King's rapidly expanding empire drew notice from other civilizations on Azeroth, specifically the Zandalari trolls from the east who saw great promise in the Mogu. One of the high priests, named Zulathara, approached Lei Shen with a proposition.
Okay.
The Mogu held incredible power on Azeroth, but the trolls held the knowledge of the world.
There's even a Mount Neverest in WoW? That's crazy. That is insane. Okay. I mean, I guess Blizzard can't be sued by the universe, so, you know, that's fair, but that's so funny.
With their empires combined, they could fully dominate every inch of Azeroth with ease. At this point, there was no empire that came even close to the combined might of the Zandalari and Mogu armies. Despite this, Lei Shen, being the asshole that he is, did plan on enslaving the Zandalari when they were no longer useful to him. But as time went on, both parties learned that they were invaluable allies and were a great help to one another. Lei Shen even told Zul'Thara of a ritual to revive his spirit if he was ever killed. He never told his own Mogu empire about this ritual because he knew how power hungry they were and how they could never be trusted with such critical information.
Damn.
Meanwhile, in the southwest, in a tropical land called Oldham, the Titan creations called the Tol'vir dwelled. They were created to protect a Titan facility called the Forge of Origination, an extremely powerful weapon that could eradicate all life on Azeroth. The Tol'vir also succumbed to the Curse of Flesh and patiently waited for Rauden's return. But one day, they received a summon from their Mogu cousin to come visit their empire. Upon arrival, the Tol'vir were stunned to see how advanced the Mogu had become.
Okay.
The Thunder King greeted them with open arms and toured them around his humongous empire. The Tol'vir took notice of the abhorrent use of slaves, but, they didn't really mind it that much. Besides, they were more focused on the protection of Titan creations more than anything. What the Tol'vir did have a problem with was when Lei Shen told them that he ripped the heart out of Rauden, their master, stole his power, and he also locked him in a basement in his palace, where he's now sucking out his Titan blood called anima. If you've played the Shadowlands expansion before, you'll know that there's also stuff called anima, which is the essence of all mortal souls. Blizzard originally said, these two animas are kind of the same thing, and then they walked back on that statement. And now there's two different things called anima in the Warcraft universe that are totally unrelated. Okay. Anyways, in the novel called Shadows of the Horde, this Titan anima was described to be so powerful that if you tossed it on a human, they would regress back into becoming a Vrykul. And Lei Shen used it to make robots, torture cow people, and make new races by using it on lizards to create the Sarok, and Trogs to make the Grummels.
That's crazy, okay?
Oh, and Lei Shen planned on securing the Forge of Origination for himself so he could recreate all living things on Azeroth to serve him, including the Tol'vir.
Okay, shit.
Obviously, they were furious. They'd never bow to a traitor king like Lei Shen and stormed out of his empire. The Thunder King let them flee because he knew their choice really didn't matter. He'd take what he wanted by force.
I am Lei Shen, slayer of kings and gods. You have made a grave mistake.
The Thunder King and his Mogu army marched towards Oldham. Lei Shen was so confident he would lay claim to the Forge that he invited the Zandalari not to help, but to simply watch as the Thunder King did what he does best: dominate all opposition. At the base of the pyramid, only a few Tol'vir stood armed. Lei Shen let out a laugh.
Is that all you can muster? Pathetic. Do you not realize under my rule, Azeroth will be cleansed of all corruption? All shall be pure in form. All shall be one unified force, and all shall bow to the Thunder King.
He's insane, what the fuck?
The Tol'vir had edited the code in the Forge of Origination to only wipe out all life in Oldham, killing Lei Shen, his army, and the trolls in an instant, turning the once lush jungle into a barren desert. In the end, it was the Thunder King's hubris that led to his downfall, and both Troll and Mogu empires would never recover from this massive blow. Turns out that threatening the Tol'vir, who had access to a giant nuke, was actually not a good idea. The Tol'vir then shrouded the now scorched land of Oldham in mystery to hide the Forge from being claimed by any outside mortals ever again.
Okay.
But of course, Mist of Pandaria came out and Lei Shen returned. The Zandalari had used the ritual Lei Shen talked about, and they used their powers combined to take over Azeroth once again. And somehow they recovered his body after being blown up in a giant nuke. How?
What?
I don't know. Stop asking questions. Point is, Lei Shen was resurrected and his conquest continued once again. But, not really a lot of lore happens here. I mean, he's just kind of back, trying to do the same thing again, but this time with a lot more trolls. And, of course, we kill him again.
I sought only to finish the work of the gods.
But will we ever see him return? I mean, he's been resurrected once, so why can't he be resurrected again? Well, about that.
Yeah.
You see, in Mist of Pandaria, there was this long quest chain for the legendary cloak, and during this quest chain, you have to kill Lei Shen and take his heart and give it to Wrathion, who then eats it.
What?
So, I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, I don't think
But
so
no matter.
either.
Lei Shen has continued to be a fan favorite in the lore community because he's a villain who took matters into his own hands. A villain whose motives were justified and only wanted to continue the legacy of his creators. And for me personally, has one of the most interesting stories ever told in the Warcraft universe.
Wait.
But I will agree, he's kind of an asshole.
Okay, guys. Okay, Thunder King is kind of garbage rating. He's filler content. Do you guys think he's cool or do you guys hate him? Genuine question. Do you guys like or hate him? Lei Shen the Thunder King. I feel like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Cool lore boss fight was mid? I love the raid. Oh, so you guys like the raid, but like you didn't actually like the boss fight then, huh? Okay. Tank, who saw everything crumbling, was like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. He was cool. But you guys hated the boss fight, so his story was cool. His fight was good too. I guess more people find him cool than anything, huh? Okay, are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. This is how the Tauren almost went extinct.
O great chieftain, I come to you, seeking knowledge. And what troubles you, young one? I must know the history of the Tauren. Tell me everything, for I must know. Well, our history is not one that can be told. It must be experienced.
Okay.
By the Earth Mother?
Is he high?
Where am I? Long, long ago, when Azeroth flourished in its infancy, the Tauren were not Tauren. They were actually a race called the Yongle. These similar race of bovine beasts were taught by the demigod Cenarius about how to live in harmony with nature, and for thousands of years, the Yongle lived in central Kalimdor. They thrived off the bountiful lands and hunted game for food. Quite frankly, it was a paradise.
Okay.
That was until an invasive enemy
What
marched
happened?
on their lands.
Oh shit. Ooh.
The rambunctious trolls traveled from far-off lands from the east and competed with the Yongle for the natural resources around
What?
central Kalimdor. And quite frankly, it was really frustrating having to compete with the trolls dominating their hunting grounds. Instead of waging war with the tusked freaks, the Yongle instead chose to migrate and travel down south in search of new territory. Cenarius pleaded for them to stay, but the Yongle were already off to greener pastures.
Oh.
You look pretty. Pretty tasty.
Damn.
No, I have not something to taste. Please, Yongle, come back. Oh my goodness, please.
No, they abandoned him. Also, Grim, thank you so much for the sub and prime. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. They left. I can't believe
and so,
it.
the Yongle traveled south to a place that would be known as Pandaria. But little did they know, they were the ones being hunted.
Ooh. Wait, why? What is this hair? Guys, is this haircut canon? Do they actually have like the Bieber haircut? Genuine question. Do they actually have the Bieber haircut? Or am I like... They do? Stop. That is so funny. What?
The Yongle had made a grave mistake and were enslaved by the Mogu, a tyrant race that had enslaved all other inhabitants in southern Kalimdor.
You do mankin, blick, cheek, and oop for brain, sticky, stealing, nib, grubbing, dibs, nibbling, face jumper! Kneel before your new masters!
For generations upon generations, the Yongle suffered as servants for the Mogu. The most monumental project they slaved away on was the Serpent's Spine, a great wall that divided their territory from the ravenous Mantid, even though the Mantid could fly.
Wait. Yeah, what the heck?
The unworthy have not yet learned of my power.
The Yongle and the other servants of the Mogu suffered for thousands of years under the tyranny of Lei Shen. With the Thunder King at the helm of their empire, the Mogu were an unstoppable army who threatened to control all of Azeroth if left unchecked. But then Lei Shen made the biggest mistake of his life.
Okay.
And he allied with a troll.
Oh.
Long story short, Lei Shen and the Zandalari leader went on a mission together in Oldham for more power, and they accidentally blew up. This sudden removal of a leader created a power vacuum within the Mogu Empire, and they constantly cycled through new emperors, each one being more brutal than the last. The final emperor was a Mogu named Lao Fei, a ruler who held no sympathy for his subjects. A common punishment for disobedient slaves was to take their children and send them off to the Serpent's Spine and use them as fodder against the local Mantid.
I'm growing a beard.
What the fuck? Wait, wait.
Now,
What? Did they just yeet a child? Did they just yeet a fucking child? Holy shit.
in secret, the Yongle and the other enslaved races banded together and worked to overthrow their Mogu rulers.
Okay.
But look, I'll be honest with you, really the reason why the slaves all got liberated was because there was this Pandaren named Kang who learned how to use Kung Fu, and he taught all the other Pandaren how to learn Kung Fu, and the Yongle were there kind of just existing.
Damn.
Kang later went on to direct 3 films about his experiences, and also suffered mortal wounds from his battle with the Mogu. The Yongle, on the other hand, split into 2 lines of thinking. One group decided to remain in southern Kalimdor and developed an aggressive, warlike culture, but the bulk of the bovines moved back up north to return to Cenarius, whose tales were only a distant memory now in their culture. Some of these Yongle decided to play life on hard mode and moved all the way up to the north to the frozen tundra. These tribes would eventually turn into the Tonka, who live in communities like Ice Mist Village, a safe haven surrounded by waterfalls, where if it actually existed, it would sound like,
Hello, can you hear me? Who the hell decided to make a village surrounded by giant waterfalls?
Anyways, the bulk of the Yongle
That's
returned to their
crazy.
homelands once again, bracing themselves to deal with the torrent of annoyance that the trolls brought on their land.
Oh hey, remember those troll guys? Well, I made them look like myself. How cool is that?
Greetings.
In central Kalimdor, there is a font of unlimited arcane power called the Well of Eternity. This raw power had transformed the local trolls into the Kaldorei we know today, aka the Night Elves. This raw, arcane power transformed the Yongle into the Tauren.
Oh!
Boo. Are you happy now?
These two magically enhanced races lived in relative peace for thousands of years and learned about nature and stuff, but their cultures never really integrated together because a lot of Kaldorei didn't want to mingle with such a bestial and nomadic race like the Tauren. But, you know, that kind of all changed when Queen Azshara, the leader of the Kaldorei, made a pact with Sargeras and summoned a bunch of demons onto Azeroth. Suddenly, a bunch of demons are all over Azeroth and the world is thrown into chaos. Amongst the destruction, there's only one instance recorded in history of the Tauren fighting back against the...
Can I just say, I think that the fact that they lost their Bieber haircut is very sad. Because that was very cute, very charming. Because what the heck?
The demonic invasion. Huln High Mountain, the chieftain of the High Mountain, united the surrounding tribes and worked with the Kaldorei resistance to fight back against the demons. During the war, Huln saved a moose named Ekaro, who was favored by the ancient stag spirit Lorn. And in return, Cenarius blessed Huln and his tribe by granting them all moose horns. Yeah, I guess Cenarius wasn't really one for subtlety. Anyways, this war ended with the elves causing problems like they always do, and the entire world exploded.
Oh, shit! Okay. Maybe I love Highland cows, guys. What? Highland cows sound cute.
The Tauren had persevered through the radical changes of Azeroth's landscape, and remained a tribalistic race that settled upon the plains of Kalimdor. Above all else, it was the Tauren's mission to live in perfect harmony with the Earth Mother. The Earth Mother is the representation of Azeroth herself, an omnipotent goddess who the Tauren revere and swear to protect. It is said that the Earth Mother watches over her children with the sun and the moon. The sun is named Anshi, and the moon is named Musha. Musha is also worshipped by the Night Elves, who call her Elune, a mysterious goddess I wish we knew nothing about.
That's Elune?
One region that was particularly sacred to the Tauren was the grasslands of Mashanshi, also known as the Loom of the Earth Mother. There were radiating elemental whispers beneath these lands that led the Tauren to believe that the Earth Mother herself rested underneath. For decades, experienced Tauren shamans worked on awakening their goddess from the earth. Countless times they meditated, countless times they granted their goddess with offerings, and countless times they prayed for an answer. And eventually, the goddess that dwelled beneath them answered their call.
Ooh.
Run! Retreat!
What dwelled beneath was no Earth Mother. It was the enormous Earth elemental known as Princess Theradras.
Princess?
The enraged princess devoured all life around her, making the once fertile lands of Mashanshi into the barren wasteland called Desolus.
Damn.
This sudden, dramatic loss of life sent ripples throughout the Emerald Dream, and caught the attention of Cenarius. Such a catastrophic disaster could not be ignored, and Cenarius sent his son, Zaatar, to investigate the disturbance within Kalimdor.
Is this like basically who
Zaatar
Malfurion?
readied himself for the horrors to come.
Is this basically like Malfurion's like race? Cause like they're also like horse guys, right?
Whatever nightmarish creature brought such a radical destruction to their radiant natural lands surely was a foe not to be trifled with.
Ooh. Oh, he's just a night elf. Ah. I'm kind of disturbed they gave a big rock like titties, guys. I kind of am this, like, I don't know. I'm kind of disturbed that they gave this rock like big titties. I don't know. Wait. Should see her mom? What?
Zaytar's first reaction was not fear, but arousal. The life that Princess Theradras had consumed made her the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. Her pebbly face, her buxom mineral chest, and oh, don't get me started on that bouldery bedrock of a fat dumpy. The two became forbidden lovers, and they made love. Yes, this is the actual lore as stated in page 144 of the Warcraft Chronicles.
Zaytar abandoned his earlier quest and became Theradra's mate. He knew it was against nature, but he could not deny the love that bloomed in his heart. They did the dirty and had babies. They were called the Centaur, and their barbarism would come to terrorize the lands of Kalimdor. What? What the fuck? To all the WoW gang in the chat, can someone Dulox read this smut? Dulox fucking read this smut, guys. That's crazy. He read a book about the Stone Ussie. This is canon. And Dulox was like, you gotta play the game. It's a good game. I get it, I guess. Big girls need love too. No, I get it, but like also she's kind of made of stone, right? I don't know, but I feel like it would be hard to like make love to like a rock. You know what I mean?
Volume 1. From this event, the Centaur were born.
No.
When Zaytar came to after the rebelly coitus, he realized the error of his ways. The Centaur were a malformed, smelly, low-polygon bastardization of the Keepers of the Grove.
Ooh.
They were a stain on Azeroth that could not be easily wiped clean. The Centaur took note of their father, who looked down on them in disgust, and they killed him. This bastard race then spread like a plague across Kalimdor. While the Tauren focused on balance with nature, the Centaur did the opposite. The barbaric race pillaged and overhunted the tranquil lands of Kalimdor. Every creature they came across was met with unbridled hostility. For the next 1,000 years, the various Tauren tribes scattered across Kalimdor, only united by their mutual distaste for the Centaur.
Okay.
The warmongering horsemen would strike the Tauren not out of necessity, but for sport. The Tauren, on the other hand, had no love for war and would deplete all options before combat. Some Tauren made the grave mistake of calling the Centaur's mom fat, which only enraged the horsemen even more because the Tauren were right. The Tauren had been pushed to the very brink of extinction. Their approach to the situation needed to change, and fast.
What the
Cairn
fuck?
Bloodhoof, chieftain of the Bloodhoof tribe, decided that perhaps recruiting an ally would be the best strategy. His first choice was obvious. Perhaps the Night Elves, who had a history with the Tauren, could assist.
Okay.
They cared about life on Azeroth almost as much as the Tauren, so surely they would help.
Hey guys, remember how your people kind of sort of blew the whole world up? Well, maybe you can repay us and help us with the Centaur problem because, they'll probably kill all you guys after they're done killing us, so, could you help?
Pretty please? The Tauren received no
Damn.
response.
Oh, 7. No wonder they died. Almost died, I mean.
Well, their first choice clearly wasn't an option, but as Karen and his tribe roamed the desert plains of Durotar, they stumbled upon a surprising new ally.
Ooh.
I am Cairn, chief of the Bloodhoof Tauren. Loktar, friend. What is it you wish?
Although the Tauren and the Orcs and the Darkspear Trolls had very different backgrounds, they quickly realized that they shared very similar ideals. They were all honorable people, and Karen and the other Tauren could teach these races of the Horde the spiritual ways of shamanism. In return, the Horde could assist them with driving back the centaur from their lands. Also, Karen could help Thrall with a spirit quest because he was looking for Medivh, but that's a long story.
Wait, hold on.
All with a spirit quest because
Are his eyes separating? Did his eyes just shift, like, to the side? That's crazy. Oh my god.
he was looking for Medivh, but that's a long story. Point is, the Tauren, the Darkspear Trolls, and the Orcish romance was in full
Oh my
force,
God.
and with their armies combined, they fought their way through the heart of Centaur territory.
Ishnealo Para, for honor. Blood and thunder, all the tribes. Gnomeregan.
The Horde's combined might had driven the Centaur back, letting the Tauren be able to thrive once more in their ancestral lands of Mulgore. Karen and his tribe were forever in Warchief Thrall's debt, vowing to ally themselves with the Horde no matter what happens next. Upon the peaks of Mulgore, the Bloodhoof tribe established the village of Thunderbluff, a safe haven for all Tauren tribes and members of the Horde to settle. And from that day forward, the Tauren remained as proud members of the Horde. Even though Karen was later murdered by a war chief of the Horde years later, but again, that's a story for another time.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Whoa, why am I in jail? I just had the craziest dream ever.
A dream? That was no dream, young one. I've never seen someone react to those herbs that way.
He's
Get away
suited.
from me, you Mogu. Oh, they're so big and large and made of stone. Oh, I hate them so much. Get away from me, you demon. You're all demons. Get away, you fell guards and...
A Tauren, a Yongal, and a Tonka walk into a bar. Oh, this isn't a joke. It's my family reunion.
What?
Oh, by the Earth Mother's bosom! What are you doing? You're lucky Karen's son, Chieftain Bane, isn't here, or you'd be excommunicated from Thunderbluff.
Oh, thank the Earth Mother he's not here, but where is he?
Well, you see, Bane Bloodhoof has gone on a valorous mission for his people. He has traveled to another reality called the Shadowlands. A place filled with horrific beings that we could not even imagine. Alas, I am sure our chieftain is making the Tauren proud, defending the universe from whatever may come our way.
Oh no! I foresee this going wrong. Oh my god, guys. Oh no! The AFK 5K chieftain. I know. Yeah, he kind of got his ass beat, huh? Okay, guys. Next one is gonna be the catastrophic failure of gnomes in WoW. So, how are we liking this so far? Are you guys enjoying it? We're chilling? We are chilling. The Stone Booba is insane. But they nixed it, so you just sat there the entire expansion. Is Bane Bloodhoof one of the most underused characters in WoW? Is he? Gnomes are funny and silly. Damn. Not the gnomes. No. Quite used. You think he's used fairly frequently? Okay. Who's the most underused character in your opinion then? Hero videos are great. We can't watch hero videos because very unfortunately, he's my bestie, but sometimes his videos put me to sleep. I'm sorry. But that's my best friend right there. But based on underused can be scary, you forget he's here. Oh man. Rexar? I don't know who Rexar is. It's the most underused. Okay, wait, let me go look up who Rexar is. It just started playing on its own. I got scared. Rexar, wow. Who the fuck is this guy? Wait. Okay, on God, I've never seen him before in any of the cinematics. Therefore, you're absolutely right. He is underused. Okay, are you guys ready for the video? In 3, 2, 1. Oh no.
Ingenious, resourceful, forward-thinking, and very puntable.
Not
These
the
are all
puntable.
ways to describe the gnomes, a race of brilliant inventors that pride themselves on their discoveries. But they are also the same race that sorta made their giant technologically advanced city into an irradiated trash heap.
Retreat!
In order to understand how the gnomes accidentally started
That's crazy.
this catastrophic failure, first we should go back to the very start of gnomanity.
Nomanity, guys.
Long, long ago, when the Titans first shaped the world of Azeroth, the gnomes were actually mechagnomes.
Oh?
I am ready!
Mechagnomes are pretty much like normal gnomes, except they're entirely robotic. At least they were, until there was this thing called the Curse of Flesh, which turned a bunch of robotic beings on Azeroth into the fleshy creatures we know today.
No, I hate this.
The early generations of gnomes found themselves in the snowy mountains of Dun Morogh, a hostile tundra where if you didn't freeze to death, the creatures looking for a pint-sized snack will get you instead. From the very beginning, the gnomes were forced to rely on their quick wit and brilliant thinking to survive.
Okay.
You might feel a little tingle. Get him!
Is Miwa a gnome? I am not a gnome. How dare you?
Farewell!
But as the gnomes roamed the snowy mountains of Dun Morogh, they would realize that not everything wanted to kill them.
What do you mean?
Salutations.
Hello!
I like large posteriors, and I cannot prevaricate.
Wait, what?
I'm straight.
Hold up. Thank you for the raid, Coder. Thank you, and welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, if you guys don't know who I am. I'm Miwabelle. All I do is play Yu-Gi-Oh! And cry, but right now we are deep diving into WoW lore because, what the fuck is WoW? How do you play it? And, why does everyone low-key, like, throw in this universe? Like, is it a skill issue? Do the writers just hate every character? Why does everyone keep throwing just when you think the story's about to like get to like a good point? You know, one of the characters is like, no, I have a conscience again and I won't do it. And it's like, brother, That's like the big bad in your universe. What are you doing? Yamete Kura, stop? But then also, like, what? And then I'm just here like, I don't get it, but like also like, I don't know. Also, like, all of my things are like delayed, so I have no idea when when you raid it. I just got the notification too, so no idea. But yeah, everyone's fucking throwing in this universe. Holy shit. I mean, I get they're throwing for the sake of the plot, but like, huh? Now I feel bad for everyone involved. No, stop. The pink beard is insane.
The gnomes and their slightly taller dwarven allies were truly a match made in heaven. The dwarves and the gnomes were brilliant in their own special ways and formed an unstoppable friendship. The gnomes helped assist the dwarves in constructing the city of Ironforge, and the dwarves helped the gnomes build the city of Gnomeregan.
I think it's so insane that you can like strip them down. But also, hi Coder, hi, hey Goober. Wait, I'm a Goober? What is a Goober? It's like one letter away from Gooner. What's the difference between a Goober and a Gooner? But yeah, ugh. Am I Goober coded? Okay. But like, what's the difference between Goober and Gooner? That's the question. That's the T. World of a Difference is a cute way to call you silly. I'm silly? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's so nice. Wait. Aw, thank you. You're just a little goober. I thought you guys were calling me gooners for a gooner for a sec, which, you know, you're not wrong. But also, kind of bold of you to say that to my face. Am I right? But yeah, we're trying to see, okay, who do you think in the WoW universe threw the hardest? Maybe we should do the tier list on that. We'll do a tier list based on the characters that threw. Not the individual like races, but like which character like heart threw for their team. Arthas kind of threw, huh? If you really think about it. I don't know. His wife kind of took a W by like dying after getting a rock thrown at her, and he kind of went off the deep end, and then like he kind of died in like a blaze of glory. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Everyone's kind of messy in this universe, huh? Anyways, 3, 2, 1. What did I hit? The wrong button. Oops. Oh, you're right. No, sorry.
Here's the thing. A lot of the gnomes' ancient history is entirely unknown because gnomish culture is all about forward thinking and trying to invent the next big thing in a constant arms race for technological advancement. In other words, an in-universe way of saying that there isn't really any old lore of the gnomes.
Time to unveil one of my latest inventions.
But there is one gnome we can talk about. A gnome who's the very embodiment of what it means to be a gnome.
Okay.
He was determined to prove himself, to create the most groundbreaking inventions gnomanity has ever seen.
You face the pinnacle of gnomish technology!
I am programmed for mayhem.
Gelbin Mekgineer is easily the most brilliant gnomish inventor that has ever graced
No
Azeroth.
fucking shot, he looks
Mekgineer
like that.
had invented hundreds of contraptions, like the Mechanistrider, the Gyromatic Adjuster, the Repair Bot, the Dwarven Siege Engine, the Gigawatt Bread Slicer, the Chronoboon Displacer, the Gnomish Army Knife, Gun, and... Okay, I made like half of those up, but the point is, Gelbin Mekgineer was such a brilliant inventor, he needed a gigantic trophy case just to store all of his awards.
Perseverance is a true blueprint to success.
As Gelbin tinkered, he realized that the gnomes soon would have to put their ingenuity to the test.
Hazard approaching. Intruder alert. Self-destruct sequence initiated.
You know, I'm not surprised out of all of the races that, like, gnomes are the ones that use guns. Not actually that surprised if you really think about it, right?
At this point in time, the Horde had just destroyed Stormwind City in the First War. And during the Second War, they marched up north to Khazmodan with hopes of conquering the city of Ironforge and Gnomeregan.
Gnomeregan!
The Horde were never successful in their attempt.
07!
To reward himself, Gelbin got a souvenir. A troll-made chair that he keeps in his study that is unreasonably comfortable. Anyways,
what a
after the
detail.
victory, the gnomes and the dwarves helped assist in the reconstruction of Stormwind. To make the job easier, Gelbin wrote the schematics for the Deep Run tram. And in this tram, I guess it was important to have an arena where contenders can beat the crap out of each other, and also an underwater section with the Loch Ness Monster in it.
The what?
If it wasn't obvious yet, Gelbin was praised for his ingenious designs and was promoted to High Tinkerer of Gnomeregan, and led his people into a glorious new future.
I just want you guys to know that if you ever hear like a bonk followed by an ow, it's because I keep hitting my head against my mic stand. I know, it's very low. And every time I move a little, I just keep smacking my forehead against it. I'm sorry.
It wasn't until a few years later that the High Tinker's leadership skills were really put to the test. Hello, and welcome to the Gnomeregan Report, where we got some breaking news for you citizens. The undead threat rages on as the plague infects the innocent humans of Stratham. Here's a statement from Prince Arthas Menethil on the matter. Purge! In other news, Salisbury steak will be on the menu for...
What the fuck?
While the rest of Azeroth dealt with undead and demonic invasions during the Third War, the gnomes had their own serious problems. You see, their dwarven allies had been digging around an ancient Titan facility called Oldman, and dug a bit too deep in regular dwarven fashion, and had awoken the race known as the Trogs.
Okay.
These dangerous droids were attracted by the rhythmic vibrations of Gnomeregan's machinery under the earth, and they dug straight to their city.
Let's see how you handle this little gizmo!
Gelbin Mekgineer was quick to react to the sudden invasion and put his plans into motion.
Why do these outfits look like Neospatian dolphin? Is that crazy? Is Miwa tiny? I am not. Okay. I'm not very tall, and this mic stand isn't very high. So all I do is full smack like that. Donate to buy me a monster coffee. Lord knows I need it. Shut up, Dolok. Stop making fun of me. You're like my boss, dude. Like, why do you keep making fun of me? That's crazy.
The gnomes would set up defenses to hold back the marauding Trogs, but the problem was the Trogs could kind of just dig around all of the gnomish defenses and flank the defenders.
Ooh.
For the next 5 years, the gnomes tried and failed in defending their city.
No.
Eventually, Gelbin realized that their strategy needed to change and fast, or they'd lose the war.
No, they suck.
The High Tinker turned his attention to his council, a collection of brilliant gnomish inventors that could offer him advice. One of these chief advisors was one of Mekgineer's closest friends.
Okay.
A gnome named Thermaplugg. The idea the crazed inventor offered was an outlandish one, but it just might be crazy enough to work. The plan is simple. Gather all of the gnomish citizens and hold them in the upper floors of Gnomeregan. release a toxic gas with a heavy volumetric weight to fill the lower reaches of the city and kill all of the trogs. Set up clean wind domicilic filters so that the toxic gas does not reach any of the gnomes on the top floor. After the trogs are all dead, clean up the toxic gas, and then boom, the trogs are no longer a problem. Gelbin had no time to run over his trusted friend's calculations and took his word as truth. The gnomes then organized the plan and released the pressure valves to unleash this toxic radiation into the lower levels of Gnomeregan.
Is that a good idea? I don't think it is, right?
Calm down! I'm a doctor! Everyone panic!
Ooh.
Gelbin was forced to watch in horror as his city fully collapsed in a matter of hours. Turns out, the radiation did absolutely nothing to the trogs, other than make them really pissed and even stronger.
What
the air
the
filters
fuck?
failed, turning the gnomish citizens into sickly leper gnomes or just outright killing them. But for Sicko Thermaplugg, everything was going according to plan.
Stop! No, this is the lore? This is actually the lore? This is so dumb. I love it. Oh yeah, Rolla Linny, thank you so much for the sub with Prime. Thank you, thank you. I'm so sorry I just saw it, but thank you so much, bestie. Guys, this is driving me crazy. What? So they all got like wiped out by like radiation. Oh my god, this man fucking planned Chernobyl on like his own homeland? Stop. You're joking. You're absolutely joking, right? Okay. 3, 2, 1. No.
You see, over the years, Thermaplugg was filled with a bitter hatred and envy for Mekgineer. Thermaplugg felt like he was the one that was supposed to be the High Tinkerer and set up this daring betrayal to take the High Tinker title. Secretly, he anticipated for the plan to fail horribly, and he'd pin it all on Mekgineer, and then Thermaplugg would just swoop in and save the day. Somehow. According to Thermaplugg's calculations, around 30% of the gnomes would die before he swooped in to save the day. Well,
what?
He kind of fudged the numbers a bit because by the end, 80% of the gnomish population was dead.
What?
Furthermore, Sicko Thermaplugg went entirely insane and fell ill to the radiation he unleashed haphazardly. Sicko then proclaimed himself to be the new quote-unquote king of Gnomeregan and ordered his crazed leper gnome servants to do his bidding. So in a weird way, he kinda sorta got what he wanted.
I
the
guess.
The small amount of gnomes left looked for Mekgineer for answers, and with a heavy heart, the High Tinkerer led the surviving gnomes out of Gnomeregan and fled to Ironforge, where the entirety of the gnomish population was downsized to a single room.
No, that's crazy.
But in Classic, a group of adventurers stormed into Gnomeregan to kill Thermaplugg, but they actually killed an engineered copy of him. But then in Wrath of the Lich King, the Gnomeregan Resistance and Alliance players tried again, but it ended with a toxic bomb 26 times more powerful than the first one, exploding.
Retreat!
Just a minor miscalculation. Silly him, right? He's just a silly guy. What the fuck?
Our tale doesn't end there. In the short story, cut short, Gelbin Mekgineer snuck his way back into Gnomeregan. the High Tinkerer returned to his workshop, where he found an old heirloom. That made him ponder his past choices, like, why the hell would you trust a guy named Sicko in the first place? Anyways, the room was
yeah, why?
Gilbin could hear Thermaplugg approaching. He needed to think quickly, or he'd surely meet his demise. The brilliant engineer repurposed the trap Thermaplugg had set for him, and when Thermaplugg entered the room to kill Mekhitork, he cut him in half.
What?
I will now quote the short story directly.
My legs are in that half.
Indeed they are, my friend. And with a razor-quick spring cut and steam cauterization from your ruptured engine, the bleeding is probably minimal. I'd wait around to see if the rats find you before your Trog minions do. But I've seen enough of the latter for one day.
You're just gonna leave me here?
You don't deserve a quick death, sicko. You deserve a long, miserable existence in a dark hole surrounded by filthy monsters. In fact, you have created your very own prison right here. Better than any I could have built for you. You definitely outdid me on this one. Congratulations.
Is that actually what his voice sounds like? Because why did they give him like a deep voice? That's not nice, that isn't nice, but also what? Haha, no, that's kind of insane. That's actually like low-key crazy. Only one way to find out and play retail? I don't know. Okay, let me tell you something. I feel a little burnt out from playing like too much hardcore WoW. So I think I need to like super like be in the like the vibes to play like retail. Giga Chat, his voice, that's what I was thinking. Like I could have sworn they were all like squeaky voices, right? He knew dramatization. It's so funny. It's actually kind of insane.
Besides, if you do survive, I can't think of anybody I'd rather have leading these beasts than one of their own. Enjoy your remaining time in jail, my friend.
Damn.
Your sentence is almost over.
And with that, Gilbin left his arch-nemesis for dead. In Cataclysm, Thermaplugg would later die when adventurers stormed into Gnomeregan one last time. But that isn't the last we saw of Thermaplugg. For in Shadowlands, there is a companion pet called Mordal Evening Star. And the description of this pet reads, Mordal is a ruthless tormentor of the smallest souls, who some say he was known in life as Thermaplugg. So, after the Twisted King of Gnomeregan died, his soul was sent to the Maw, a realm of infinite torment and pain. Funnily enough, that is exactly how I describe Shadowlands. Anyways, Gnomeregan...
Wait, did you guys actually hate Shadowlands? Also, Pixel Galaxy, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. Welcome to the basement. Oh my god, did Dwells get you into WoW? No, I kind of like enjoyed it a little. I kind of like really enjoyed it. So, you know, it's low-key on me. Like on the lowest of keys, it was on me for like getting into it, but it's really fun actually. Shadowlands is actual garbage? That's crazy.
Still has not been recaptured by the gnomes, at least not fully.
Okay.
And the story of the city's downfall is a very, very large portion of gnome lore in WoW.
Oh.
For the most part, the race has kind of just been the funny comic relief and hasn't really been developed or expanded upon much except for...
No! I hate this!
These things.
What?
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that in
I'm not
another
gonna look
video.
at it. What the fuck? Guys, I hate that that's how it ended. That's insane. It was my least favorite expansion, but I enjoyed it enough since I have friends to play with. Honestly, true. I feel like any shitty game can be vastly improved with like besties. I don't like that kill it girl. I don't like it either. That like scared me a little. Okay, let's watch Warcraft's stupidest dragon. Cause I think he's kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie, I think he's kind of hot, but like he's also dumb. Mecha Gnomes were a mistake. Mecha Gnomes are insane. Why did they show me that? I kind of hate that. What the fuck? Shadowlands was horrible. 07 Shadowlands, no one likes you. Get out of here, loser. Okay, are you guys ready for the next video? In 3, 2, 1.
With the new Dragonflight expansion coming out, we know that there are going to be multiple returning characters whose stories will continue in this expansion. One of these characters is named Wrathion, one of the more interesting and complex characters in the game's history. The story of the Black Dragonflight Prince has spanned over multiple expansions, and the situations he's been in and the decisions he has made have been questionable at best.
Damn.
Let's learn about this dragon's blunders, triumphs, and ultimately how he's been labeled as one of Warcraft's stupidest dragons.
Stupidest is insane, by the way.
The origin of the Black Prince is in a zone you probably wouldn't expect. Across the barren dunes and ravines of the Badlands, a red dragon by the name of Rheastraza is experimenting with black dragon eggs. Under the guise of a goblin, she simply goes by Rhea. With the help from the player characters, you partake in a questline that involves the imprisonment of a black dragon named Alexandra, who is being forced to lay eggs by Rhea. The reason for this is she is trying to experiment and try and purify these dragon eggs of corruption.
Okay.
Because literally almost every black dragon is corrupted. And while it might be a noble cause, it's a pretty brutal thing to do for a member of the Red Dragonflight. Anyways, during this questline, you find a Titan of Ice that purifies one of the eggs. Obviously, the Black Dragonflight does not like their eggs being stolen and experimented on, so they attack the player character. In the process, you kill Alexandra. This questline ends with Rhea being burned to literal ash by Deathwing, but that purified egg had found its way to the Twilight Highlands, where the Red Dragonflight are protecting it for safekeeping and until it gets stolen.
Okay, what the fuck?
Hi. This section of our story is a core part for the legendary Daggers questline for rogues in Cataclysm.
Rheastraza is understandably upset. Under her care was the one black dragon egg that we believe was free of the taint of Deathwing's corruption, and it was stolen away from us by thieves in the night. You've found for us our only lead. The rogues from Ravenholt are behind this. Ravenholt? It just doesn't make sense. A mongrel band of petty thieves? How did they even know about the egg? We'll get to the bottom of this. Madness.
And so, the player character and the Red Dragon Mostras travel to Ravenhold Manor, and rogue players put their skills to the test and sneak into the building and creep into the dark depths of the basement in order to find their prized egg.
Not the prized egg.
That's right, mortal. The prize you seek no longer sleeps within a shell.
Oh.
Here I am, in the flesh. I'm not some trophy for a red dragon's mantelpiece, and I'm never going back.
Ooh,
Don't look
sassy.
so surprised. We dragons are conscious, even within our shells. As I grew, I could hear the plotting and scheming. I was to be born a prisoner, but I'm one of a kind. A black dragon raised free from the taint of my father's corruption. And that's how I intend to stay. Free.
Your Highness, we caught this beast snooping around the caves just outside the compound.
I'm not afraid of you. Wait, who are you?
You don't recognize your former prisoner?
Shall we execute him, my prince?
No. I want him to deliver a message to the Red Dragonflight. Tell them that I am free of my father's madness, and I will be free of them as well. I am to be left alone. This will be my first and only warning.
But Deathwing's minions may have you killed.
Deathwing's minions should be afraid of me. Get him out of here.
Send that knockoff.
Break his legs.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what?
Now then, my new friend, we have much to talk about.
What is this? Oh my
teams
goodness.
up with Wrathion and his roguish goons to dispatch of his corrupted Dragonflight relatives, and Deathwing himself. Players travel to the ruins of Gilneas, the Tower of Karazhan, and even the final raid in Cataclysm to defeat Deathwing and claim the components to make their legendary.
Wait, does this message like bite the pillow I'm going in dry? Or am I blind? What? You know? That's fair.
Daggers. Once that's all done, they return to Ravenholt to discover a grisly aftermath.
Oh no, what happened? Oh fuck.
Your eyes do not deceive you. The treacherous Red Dragonflight sought to kill me off. I hope now you see the truth about them. Champion, you have your reward. But there is one final dragon we need to slay.
My prince, we should leave this place in case they come back to finish the job.
Farad, I was just talking about you. The final Black Dragon. The one who's been more hidden than any of them.
Your Highness, I have never tried to conceal what I am from you.
Yes, you rescued me while I was still within my egg, and I owe you my life. But you are a black dragon, and you share the corruption of all my brothers and sisters.
That is not true.
Do you deny it? The dark visions? The voices in your head?
No, I am in control of the voices. They're here to help me.
And what are they telling you now, Farad? What do your dark masters whisper?
They want me to kill you now.
Ooh.
Why did you have to go and anger them? You have proven too difficult to control.
I will never be controlled. The Red Dragonflight has no idea what they unleashed when they experimented on my egg. Heroes, strike now! Use your newfound power to finish him!
God damn, he's angry.
It is done, friend. To my knowledge, I am the only black dragon who remains. A new age for mortals has dawned, and heroes like you are among the vanguard. I must go now. Disappear. Perhaps we will meet again. I hope we find ourselves on the same side.
You know, you're kind of dangerous. I hope so too. Shit, dude.
But it wouldn't take long for us to run into the new self-proclaimed leader of the Dragonflight. Because in the next expansion, Mist of Pandaria, Wrathion wandered across this new continent. While exploring this strange new land, he made his home in an inn called the Tavern of the Mists. There's also a drugged out vermin under the floorboards of the inn, and in the back there's a bunch of monkeys in a hot tub. This is not important to our story, but I just felt the need to mention it.
Pandaria, a land of mystery, history, and opportunity.
Also, during this time, the young dragon got 2 bodyguards, who are simply named Left and Right. Apparently, this is a reference from Game of Thrones, where an old grandma also has guards who are referred to as Left and Right. But, I don't know. I'm not a nerd who reads that stuff.
Wait. Really? Dulos, can you confirm? Because, like, what? Is that really true? That's kind of cool, then. Makes sense. Ooh, I do not remember that bit in like in Game of Thrones. Is heavily if you say that he's inspired by Littlefinger, then yeah, I guess I get it.
While the Horde and the Alliance waged war trying to claim the territory over this strange new land, Wrathion played a different role and helped players obtain their legendary cloaks in a long, complicated questline. This questline begins with Wrathion summoning the player character to the Tavern of the Mists to discuss a disturbing vision he had.
Okay.
If it isn't my favorite master assassin, I was hoping I would find you here in Pandaria. Very good. Let's talk. Tong, drinks please.
Ooh.
My father, Deathwing, tried to destroy the whole of Azeroth. He was misguided, of course, but he was right about one thing. Our world is so fragile. We are a point of light in a universe of shadow, a candle in a tempest. And sometimes I think it was the very precariousness of our world that drove my father to madness.
Oh, damn.
Thank you, Tong. Now to my point. I believe we are headed towards a reckoning. And no, I am not talking about the current conflict between the Alliance and the Horde. But the war deeply troubles me. Believe me, what Garrosh Hellscream achieved in Theramore is nothing compared to the horrors that are even now bearing down on our fragile home.
Behold the power of the found!
Do you see my concern? A divided Azeroth cannot possibly stand against the darkness. This war has to end soon, before it consumes our strength. I want you to know that your alliance has my full and unwavering support in this campaign. How do we bring a swift and decisive end to the conflict? I believe the answer lies with heroes like you.
Of the Storm?
We must ensure that you are up to the task, and then equip you accordingly.
So during Mist of Pandaria, Wrathion had a vision of the Legion invading, an event that would eventually happen 2 expansions from now. Since Wrathion is the new leader of the Black Dragonflight, he had the full responsibility of defending Azeroth, and he would stop at nothing to make sure the people of his world were prepared.
Okay.
His plan was to have one of the factions dominate and fully conquer the other so that they could be united as one. Now, the faction Wrathion allies himself with is entirely dependent on what the faction the player character was a part of. So for this video, let's just say it's the Alliance.
For the Alliance!
Now, most of the legendary questline is not that remarkable and is mainly just Wrathion sending players to go do chores and gameplay related stuff.
Okay.
But meanwhile, Garrosh Hellscream, War Chief of the Horde, is running around warmongering around Pandaria. During this time, he bumps into Prince Anduin of the Alliance, who is protecting an ancient Mogu artifact called the Divine Bell. This is also one of the funniest cinematics in Warcraft history, because Anduin just spouts a whole bunch of expository dialogue, and Garrosh ignores literally all of it.
The Mogu made the Divine Bell to create chaos, but the Pandaren created a special mallet to turn the echoes of that chaos into perfect harmony. That mallet was hidden for thousands of years, until now.
Die, whelp!
This is so dumb.
After breaking a 10-ton bell over a 15-year-old child, Garrosh then runs away like an evil cartoon villain, and somehow Anduin survives. His wounds were tended to, and he found himself recovering in the Tavern of the Mists, where he first met Wrathion. The first scene we find of them interacting together is them discussing the mysterious Isle of Thunder.
Anduin, my beloved, really just got fucked up over the years, huh?
And the recently resurrected Mogu leader, Lei Shen.
Why did you play that piece just now?
It's a Pandaren board game. The object is for both players to win.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
The Thunder King. What a magnificent individual. Could you imagine what his empire would be like today if it had not been overthrown and hidden by the Pandaren?
I couldn't imagine a crueler tyrant. He enslaved this entire continent. But I can tell you, no great empire has ever stood the test of time by crushing its own citizens. Remember, the Mogu were overthrown. That should be the lesson of the Thunder King. It's your move, by the way.
I worry you may be too soft to wear your kingdom's crown, Prince Anduin. You would do well to learn some of your father's hardness.
Are you lecturing me? You're what, 2 years old?
2 in dragon years. It is your move. Champion, return now to the Isle of the Thunder King. I will meet you at the Forge, where together we will create an instrument of legendary power.
To what end?
Okay.
What are you two working towards?
World peace.
Using a Mogu weapon forge whose powers you barely understand.
My dear Prince, you and I share the same goals. We only differ in our level of commitment. Come, hero. Let us shape a new Azeroth together.
My friend, if you blindly trust a black dragon in the search for greater power, are you any better than Garrosh Hellscream?
Why do I low-key feel like we're being gaslit right now? What is this? He sure... You know, that's fair. That's honestly really fair.
Please, just be careful.
Look, Anduin, I'm gonna be perfectly blunt with you. He's talking about loot, and that's all I care about.
True! Us player characters are kind of dumb, huh?
The player character and Wrathion then travel to the Isle of Thunder and use an ancient Mogu forge to create a legendary gem. This chapter ends with the player character killing Lei Shen, pulling the heart out of the Mogu demigod, and then Wrathion eats said heart and trips balls.
What?
I see them. A million worlds, glittering in their perfection. But one above all others.
Oh, we have fallen. We must rebuild the final Titan. Do not forget.
For some reason, Wrathion eating the heart of a demigod is never brought up in the story ever again. Wrathion and the player
really
character
should, though.
then travel around Pandaria to receive blessings from the 4 August Celestials. For the sake of brevity, I'm kind of skipping over this part, and all you really need to know is that the Celestials are giving Wrathion wise advice and helping him deal with his daddy issues. Really, it's just a lot of talking.
Welcome back, champion. Excellent work with the Celestials. Can you believe how chatty they were? I just wanted them to hand us our reward, but they would just talk. I'm sorry, where were we? Oh yes, I have something for you.
Players are granted with epic capes, but our story isn't over. During the final chapter of our questline, Wrathion travels to the Timeless Isle and he meets with the bronze dragon named Kairos, who's investigating this strange new island.
Kairos, I want you to meet one of my most accomplished of agents.
A pleasure.
And it's
Tell
just
us again
us?
why this island is so unique.
The presence of the Timeless Isle is proof that many things are possible beyond the boundaries of linear thinking.
Okay.
What if it were possible to shape and mold time as you would a ball of clay? What possibilities await? What new worlds could we create?
I like the way you think.
Kairos will play a very important role later in our story, so just remember him for now. Okay, so the player
I remember
has a
him.
bunch of tasks around the Timeless Isle, like collecting 5,000 Timeless Isle coins and defeating all of the 4 August Celestials by teaming up with a giant raid group. And then so the Mist of Pandaria ends with the Alliance and Horde rebels storming into Orgrimmar and putting an end to Garrosh Hellscream's tyranny. With the Horde at its weakest point, Wrathion's dastardly plan of one faction overthrowing the other was just in reach until King Varian decided to let them all live and establish peace instead.
Okay.
Foiling Wrathion's plan and making his venture into Pandaria ultimately futile.
07.
Fools, imbeciles. A complete waste.
Ooh.
You were there. Is it true then? What happened in Orgrimmar? That fool king. I did everything in my power. The whole world was his. He needed only seize it. Oh, sure, another year of fighting, enormous casualties trying to take Thunder Bluff, but the rest of the Horde would have caved eventually. Tong! Drink! Now! I thought Hellscream's victory was assured before he turned half of his Horde against him. So I changed my allegiance.
Okay.
Oh, don't look so surprised. I'm a black dragon. My loyalties are my own. But that idiot Rin, High King indeed. Why did he allow another war chief? He could have united the world under the Alliance banner. What a fool I was to trust his ambition. Should have taken over the throne room myself, like Auntie Onyxia. Get things done.
Ooh, Onyxia mentioned.
Enough!
What?
Talk. Always you speak, never do you listen. You ignore the lessons of Pandaria. You see, there is balance in all things. Wisdom etched in our very fur. Black and white. Darkness and light. When the last emperor hid our land from the rest of the world, he also preserved the homeland of our ancient enemy, the man. Talk.
No.
Talk.
Not I'm getting bored.
You mistake your greatest strength for weakness. Do you see this?
You're just a waiter. I promise you this. I will stop at nothing to prepare this world for the battle to come. Nothing!
Ooh.
He destroyed my inn. He left no tip. He is not nice.
He isn't nice.
So you might be wondering, okay, Wrathion is clearly arrogant, but is he really the stupidest dragon in Warcraft? I mean, he hasn't been that stupid so far, but our story continues in the War Crimes book. Now, this book is one of the more controversial ones, because the story that links the Mists of Pandaria expansion to the Warlords of Draenor expansion is entirely explained within this book, and is barely touched on in-game, and in this book, we see Wrathion's true stupidity.
Ooh.
So in the book, the Horde and the Alliance are all at the Temple of the White Tiger, and Garrosh Hellscream is on trial for all of his heinous crimes. During Garrosh's trial, Terran Zu reads his list of crimes, and I will now quote the book directly.
Okay.
For all the acts you committed in your name, or by those with whom you have allied. Genocide, murder, forcible transfer of population, enforced disappearance of individuals, enslavement, the abduction of children, torture, the killing of prisoners, forced pregnancy, and the wanton destruction of cities, towns, and villages not justified by military or civilian necessity.
Force what now? Excuse me? Huh? That is insane. That is actually crazy. What the fuck? Oh my god, guys, I don't know. He captured Alexstrasza. Oh my god, that's a sin, that's a sin, that's a sin.
What say you to these charges, Garrosh Hellscream? And then Garrosh smiled, beginning to slowly applaud, although the chains about his wrists hampered the gesture.
The show has barely commenced, and I already give it a standing ovation. This promises to be more entertaining than the Dark Moon Fair. I will not say I am guilty, for that denotes shame. Nor will I protest innocence, for I claim no such. Let the comedy begin.
Wrathion watched from the stands and thought, wow. This abhorrent, psychopathic war criminal is just what I need to unify Azeroth. During the trial, they use a device called the Vision of Time, which is a giant hourglass that can be used to see past events. The Bronze Dragons Chromie and Kairos are also at the trial to help. But secretly, Kairos and Wrathion team up to break Garrosh out. Kairos wants to do this because he is kind of pissed the bronze dragons lost their powers at the end of Cataclysm and wants to help the infinite dragonflight and be more powerful in the process. Wrathion wants to do it because he wants to unify Azeroth under one banner. More about his plan later. Okay, so during the trial, Wrathion secretly throws Chromie into a prison, and then Anduin goes to investigate, and then Wrathion knocks him out. Then Kairos uses the Vision of Time to create a portal for Garrosh to escape through. All while
What
this is
the
happening,
fuck?
alternate evil timeline versions of the members of the trial teleport into the courtroom, and they start attacking their counterparts. But then the August Celestials are like, no, guys, don't fight. Don't you understand? You too could become Garrosh. So they don't fight their evil counterparts, and they just talk about their feelings. But then there's also the Dragon Maw orcs, and they come in, and they start fighting, and oh my god, you what? Look, that is a really abridged version, but you get the idea. Okay, so Wrathion's plan, what is it?
Do I though?
Okay. Here's what it is. Teleport Garrosh Hellscream to an alternate version of Draenor from 25 years ago, before the orcs drank the demon blood. Garrosh will then unite them as the Iron Horde, and then take them to our timeline through the Dark Portal, and then use them to ally all of Azeroth under one banner, to unite us and defeat the Legion. Does that mean kill all the Horde in the Alliance in the process? Seems kind of productive, so I don't know. We can just figure that part out later. But wait, it gets better. Wrathion didn't just want to do this once. He wanted to do this an infinite amount of times. That's right, just keep opening up alternate universe Draenors and keep growing his army. Imagine an alternate universe in World of Warcraft history where we get 10 Warlords of Draenor expansions in a row. Does this work? Of course it doesn't.
Doing?
Like, instantly right after Garrosh is teleported to Draenor, he kills Kairos. Wow, so your whole plan relying on an unhinged psychopath who has constantly demonstrated his whole life that he is a loose cannon with anger issues was a bad idea. What? Who would have guessed? Garrosh then goes to create the Iron Horde and uses the Dark Portal to invade Azeroth, but the offensive push is instantly defeated and we go to alternate Draenor. Garrosh dies in a 1v1 and we destroy the Iron Horde, but whoops, since we made an alternate Draenor, we also made an alternate Gul'dan, who at the end of Warlords of Draenor is teleported to our world and kicks off the Legion invasion in the Legion expansion. So Wrathion plays a huge role in the Legion invading Azeroth again, the very thing he was trying to protect us from. Also, let's just not ignore the last time the Legion invaded. The Horde and the Alliance won by teaming up, not by being under the same banner like Wrathion was working towards. He's literally only causing more problems for us. And
No,
with the third
stop.
Legion invasion,
He sucks.
Varian and Vol'jin die, and oh hey yeah, where's Wrathion? He's fucking nowhere the entire expansion. Side note, in the alpha for the Legion expansion, Wrathion planned to show up in High Mountain, but during development, he was swapped for a new character named Abyssian, who is the oldest uncorrupted black dragon in existence. Okay, back to our main story. The next time we see Wrathion, he just shows up in the next expansion, Battle for Azeroth, and waltzes into the Stormwind throne room like, oh hey, sorry about that whole planet-destroying invasion I sparked, but it's okay, because I'm sexy now, and...
True! Oh my god, it's okay because he's sexy.
The next time we see Wrathion is during the last patch of the Battle for Azeroth expansion. To make up for his mistake, he helps us in defeating the old god N'Zoth, which makes sense because it was N'Zoth who corrupted his father, Deathwing. This is also kind of a soft reboot of his character since he has a new model, he grew up into a Drake, and he's nowhere near as arrogant, but he is still just as snarky.
For an old god who claims to see everything, you are blind to the threat before you.
So Wrathion is kind of like our guide in this patch of the expansion, and we go and retrieve the scales from Wrathion's relatives, Onyxia and Nefarian, to make another cloak that helps us resist the corruption of the old gods. And during the final raid,
cloak, though.
Wrathion plays a huge role in defeating N'Zoth himself.
That's crazy.
And that is where our story ends for now. But we know Wrathion is going to play a pretty big role in the Dragonflight expansion, where he will discover what it truly means to be the leader of the Black Dragonflight. Wrathion is an interesting character a lot of players don't know the full story of, because his story is explained to players in a class-specific legendary questline from a decade ago, another legendary questline that was entirely removed from the game, and finally, an external book that players would have to purchase and read, which is why I made this video, because flawed, complex, interesting characters like Wrathion are few and far between in the Warcraft universe, and I'll be watching with curiosity on what the Black Dragonflight Prince will do next.
You know, the fact that they made it so complicated to get like a full story, like the full story of like this guy's entire lore. Videos like these make sense now. Holy shit. Yeah, what the hell? Like, he's just a himbo. He's literally just a himbo. Oh my gosh. He's a boy failure, but he's like our boy failure, so it's okay? I don't know. But be right back, guys. I gotta pee. Don't at me. I drink like way too much Monster today. It's my fault. But next is this. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. And be right back, guys. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I am back. Hi. I clicked on a video by accident, but let's go, guys. So I think the next video we're gonna watch is called The Embarrassing Fall of the Night Elves. That's crazy. At least you know your kidneys are working. Thank you. Thank you. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
During the recent events in Warcraft lore, the Night Elves just can't stop losing. But what if I told you they've been on this downtrend for thousands of years and have fallen tremendously from the powerful empire they once were? Our story begins 15,000 years ago on Azeroth, where a tribe of dark trolls discovered the Well of Eternity. The well was formed from an ancient titanic event on Azeroth and left a limitless font of arcane power that surged with energy. This energy transformed the life around it, including the dark trolls. They evolved to have similar characteristics to the Titans and would adopt a new name, Kaldorei, meaning children of the stars.
What a name!
They learned to worship the moon goddess of life, Elune. Now the details of who Elune actually is still shrouded in mystery, which is pretty rare now in the Warcraft universe. We do know a lot about Elune's sister goddess, but really that's it. And speaking of Elune, her son, Cenarius, taught the Night Elves the affinity for druidic magic. The demigod would be instrumental in the upbringing of the Kaldorei, and through his teachings, Druidism and the protection of nature would be a core part of their society. The other side of Kaldorei's society developed an affinity for the arcane. They used the powers of the well to build wondrous temples and expand their ever-growing empire. At the helm of this expansion was their exemplary ruler, Queen Azshara.
Ooh.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Queen Azshara was born with glowing golden eyes, a sign of her future greatness, which was more than true. She was beautiful, strategic, strong-willed, and ruthless. Now in Night Elf society, there was a clear separation between the arcane magic noble users called Highborn and your typical Kaldorei. But that didn't stop everyone in the Empire unanimously praising their new queen. They loved her so much, they renamed the capital city to Zinashari, meaning glory to Azshara.
Oh, wow.
The only real enemy that threatened the Kaldorei Empire was the trolls, and they were easily crushed because when you have a font of unlimited power and soldiers that live for 10,000 years, it makes fighting pretty easy. Azshara
that's kind of true.
Let the trolls live in the mountains of Zuldazar and told them to never expand into Kaldorei lands, and practically the entire continent was now under Kaldorei rule. But Azshara wanted more. The Queen of the Kaldorei made a pact with who she would later discover was Sargeras, the leader of the Burning Legion. Azshara wanted nothing more than to wipe out all of the lesser races on Azeroth, making every inch of the planet under Kaldorei rule. And the Well of Eternity was used as a portal to summon a horde of demons, kicking off the War of the Ancients. And okay, I've talked about this war probably like 13 times on this channel because it's probably the most important event to ever happen on Azeroth, and is also the point where the power of the Night Elves starts to fall off of a cliff. Okay, so the war ends with all of the demons being banished from Azeroth, but also the Well of Eternity explodes, and the entire planet is fractured, and like 90% of the Kaldorei Empire is destroyed. After the destruction of the planet, at the brink of death, Azshara and her loyal subjects got turned into fish people by the old god N'Zoth.
Right,
so they technically
I forgot
aren't
about
Night Elves anymore, but they live in Night Elf ruins underwater. More on them later. When the dust settled, the remaining Kaldorei attempted to pick up the pieces of their now fractured empire. Illidan Stormrage, being the dumbass that he is, had vials of water from the Well of Eternity and used it to make a new well. Which, what the hell? What are you trying to do? Blow up the world again? He was in prison for 10,000 years after that. And the dragon aspects helped build a new world tree over the well, which accomplished a multitude of things. The world tree of Nordrassil would regulate the power of the new well and mask its power from evildoers trying to seek it out. It would also use the energies of the well to heal the world, and most importantly, it would make the Kaldorei immortal, so they would not die of old age or disease. This was a new age for the Kaldorei, and the leader that rose to power was High Priestess Tyrande Whisperwind and Malfurion Stormrage. Well, it was Malfurion when he wasn't sleeping, hanging out in the spirit realm of the Emerald Dream with other druids doing druid stuff. I don't know, it's kind of vague. Point is, it was mainly Tyrande who had to deal with the aftermath of the Sundering. After this event, Night Elf society pivoted to be heavily focused on a druidic lifestyle, and the use of arcane magic was forbidden, punishable by death. This was controversial, to say the least, and the remaining Highborn, who had an affinity for the arcane, thought the banning of magic was for cowards. Dathramar Sunstrider, their leader, explained that the Highborn had been using arcane magic for thousands of years before Azshara even ever became the ruler, and it was impossible to deny the great power of the arcane. They were going to continue using it no matter what. It was their birthright, and they weren't going to let any low-born, tree-hugging hippies tell them that they can't use it.
No, I love this.
What is this? /willingly left Kaldorei society to start their own empire in the Eastern Kingdoms, and would later become the High Elves, and then the Blood Elves we know today. The next big event in Kaldorei history was the War of the Satyr. Satyrs were once night elves, twisted by demonic corruption, and they combined their efforts in a unified force to attack the night elves. In order to combat these demons, some druids tapped into an ancient druid form, forbidden to use because of how dangerous it was. These druids were called the Druid of the Pack, and in their wolf form, they were unstoppable killing machines, but in their frenzy, they could not discern friend from foe. Instead of killing these crazed druids, they banished them to the Emerald Dream, and 10,000 years later, they would re-emerge and become the Worgen we know today. And let me just say, it's hilarious. The Night Elves are like, arcane magic? Yeah, no, that stuff is dangerous, and it's corruptive, not good. Let's ban it all and then use druid magic instead. And then right after, they tap into corruptive druid magic and they start murdering each other. Yep, Night Elves are very logical. The next war is the War of the Shifting Sands. The old god Cthulhu and his insectoid creatures, called the Karaji, stirred awake in Silithus, and the Night Elf forces traveled down to snuff them out. And then they got the ever-loving crap beaten out of them, and they were forced to retreat. And in fact, they needed help from the dragons to bail them out and imprison the old god threat once again. Perhaps the war would have gone better if they didn't, hemorrhage themselves and they actually used arcane magic, maybe? I don't know, just an idea. Between the War of the Shifting Sands and the events of Warcraft 3, there really is no substantial history about the Night Elves. They have just been living in seclusion in the northern reaches of Kalimdor. And I've ragged on them a lot in this video, but the depiction of Night Elves around the time of Warcraft 3 is by far some of my favorite world building done in the Warcraft universe. They're incredibly cool. To outsiders, the Kaldorei have become this elusive, powerful force deep in the enchanted woods of northern Kalimdor. 7-foot-tall Amazonian sentinels stalk trespassers in their lands. From within the dark brush of the forest, their glowing eyes hunt their prey, shimmering with bright white light reminiscent of the goddess they worship. Their tactics are flawless, having honed their skills for tens of thousands of years. When Gromhellscream tried and failed to claim Ashenvale, he is quoted saying, "These women fight with unmatched savagery. I've never seen their equal. They are perfect warriors." And that is Gromhellscream, the war guy. Hulking druids the size of refrigerators can feel your very presence. Trespassing into the forests they have formed a deep spiritual bond with. They transform into savage beasts that can rip through a group of soldiers in a single swipe. The Kaldorei are not nice. They're intolerant, savage, spiteful warriors of nature that hold dominion over the forests of Kalimdor. And it's badass. During the Third War,
Not it being
the Night Elves fought
badass.
against demons, Scourge, Horde, and Alliance. Pretty much everyone that wasn't a Night Elf, and they suffered, kind of heavy losses, partly because of their stubborn nature. Their demigod Cenarius was slain by Fel Orcs, and the Kaldorei would not team up to defeat the demonic threat until the very last battle for Mount Hyjal, where Malfurion sounded a horn to rip Archimonde apart with 1,000 wisps and blow up the World Tree of Nordrassil to defeat him, ending the Kaldorei's immortality in the process. Between the time of Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft, the Kaldorei grew a new world tree of Teldrassil and built their new capital of Darnassus. And the Night Elves turned from these stoic, elusive, savage protectors of nature, and now they're
just guys.
Okay. Night Elves in WoW aren't necessarily bad, but they have definitely lost the edge that made them a step above the rest. Instead of being these aggressive tree huggers, now they've kind of just turned into tree huggers. This is partially because gameplay triumphs over lore constantly in Warcraft's story, and the Night Elves joined the Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, the faction that is on the other side of the planet, and now they take orders from a king who has lived a small fraction of their lives and has an even smaller fraction of combat experience.
I'm not gonna lie, these pictures of Varian looking like this is so good to me. It's so fucking funny. I love this. This is my favorite. This is literally my favorite thing ever. Oh my god.
Throughout Classic WoW, the Night Elves are dealing with the corruption of Teldrassil, yeah, it's corrupted, and the Horde's logging expedition to Ashenvale. And for the next 2 expansions, Night Elves exist, but their story and their place in the world really doesn't change. During the Cataclysm, the world has been broken by a cataclysm, and the Night Elves suffer considerable damage because of this. During these troubling times, we actually get a shakeup in Kaldorei society. Morden Evershade, leader of the few remaining Highborn left on Azeroth, apologized for all the blowing up the world stuff, and the very few remaining Highborn were reintegrated into society. But the amount of Highborn that actually exist is very, very small, and really is just an excuse for Night Elf mages to now be a playable race and class combo. Also during the Cataclysm, the Worgen broke free from the Emerald Dream and ransacked the town of Gilneas. Since the Night Elves are mainly responsible for Worgens even existing in the first place, they help out where they could, and they invite them in.
Why is he so naked? What is his outfit? What the hell?
Into the Alliance. Meanwhile, tensions between the Horde and the Alliance were ramping up. Horde offensives pushed into Darkshore and Ashenvale, but were repelled by the Elves. Although it wasn't a decisive victory. In the zone of Stonetalon Mountains, a giant goblin-engineered bomb was dropped on Thaldrala Grove, killing soldiers and innocents alike. Finally, over on Mount Hyjal, the World Tree of Nordrassil has grown back, but the Night Elves still aren't immortal, and they play a huge role in defeating Ragnaros, who has set up a base nearby. Okay, well, all things considered, it's going pretty well for the Kaldorei right now.
I guess so.
This is just the calm before the storm. Miss Pandaria, nothing happens. Warlords of Draenor, nothing happens. Legion, a lot happens. First off, Tyrande and Malfurion travel to a zone called Val Shara.
Okay.
This is an ancient location where Malfurion was first born and trained to be the first ever druid to exist on Azeroth, under the tutelage of Cenarius. More recently, the satyr named Xavius has been corrupting the lands. During the questline, Malfurion is captured, and Tyrande and the player character need to rescue him. Malfurion is an incredibly lore-rich character.
Is Malfurion literally just a baby girl? Why does he keep getting kidnapped, guys? Genuine question, but why is this man constantly getting kidnapped? Brother, can't you fight them off on your own? Huh? You know Tyrande makes Malfurion stay in bear form in bed. Yeah, I hate him. Cause he's sleepy? He's just an eepy guy? That is so insane to me. That's so funny. So the only reason why he keeps getting kidnapped is because he's just a sleepy dude. Okay, great.
Whose personality has been expanded upon over 21 years in books, comics, and in-game cutscenes. But for the average fan of World of Warcraft, they know him as the guy with the most hilariously pathetic voice lines where he's all like,
Tyrande, I need you. You cannot keep me from her. Where are you, Tyrande? No!
And here's the funny thing. It's actually Xavius impersonating Malfurion in these voice lines. But everyone kind of forgot about that detail, or it was just poorly translated. Also during the quest line, Ysera dies, a very close ally to the Night Elves, and oh yeah, also during Legion, the Nightborn, a Highborn adjacent faction of elves, wanted to ally with the Alliance, but Tyrande was apprehensive because they reminded her too much of the Highborn, with their limitless power and addiction to magic. So they joined the Horde instead.
Okay.
And then, in the Battle for Azeroth expansion, in BFA, the burning of Teldrassil is easily the most controversial event in Warcraft history. It was a radical change made to the game's story and world, something that is really rare in the MMO medium, and Night Elves suffered immensely. Easily their biggest loss since the Sundering of the World, but with great loss meant that we are able to get the brutal side of the Night Elves again, something that had been missing for the entirety of WoW since then. And visually,
that's crazy.
It was awesome.
Tyrande, I need you.
No way.
Tyrande partakes in an ancient ritual to become a Night Warrior, empowering herself with the vengeance of Elune. This is so cool, but ultimately feels hollow when she struggles to fight Nathanos, a guy with a bow. I feel like it would make more sense if she used her powers to turn him into literal ash because, you know, empowered by one of the strongest goddesses in the universe and all that.
Damn.
And again, the retaliation of the Night Elves feels hollow because the Alliance wins the battle to reclaim Darkshore, but it happens off-screen, the zone is a wasteland, and they push them all the way to the crossroads in the Barrens, which is explained in mission table quest text.
No.
Which can't possibly be more underwhelming. And hey, look, oh my god, Ajara is back. Her model is dope, her voice actress is amazing, the zone she's in is beautiful, and and she's gone. Nope.
No way.
Waited 15 years for that one. The Shadowlands expansion comes out, and if the Night Elves didn't have it hard enough, all of those elves that were murdered in the burning of Teldrassil are being funneled directly into hell to be tortured for all eternity. Which is so dark and depressing, it's almost comical. Tyrande manages to fight Nathanos alone and kills him this time, and then charges into the depths of hell, killing everything in her path to save the souls of her people. Later in the expansion, she finds Sylvanas, the one responsible for the suffering of the Night Elves.
Okay.
And they have a 1v1 fight, which, again, visually, so dope, but it ends with Tyrande's powers waning and Sylvanas just getting away, which, again, makes the badassness feel pretty hollow. Hell, even if she left a small little wound on Sylvanas, it would make this scene 1,000 times better. And ultimately, the storyline ends with Tyrande realizing she must focus on the renewal of her people instead of vengeance, which is
not it being
but
boring.
There's a silver lining to this. In order for Tyrande to not be the Night Warrior anymore, she basically has to go through this exorcism, and we get the coolest voice acting that we've gotten in WoW for years.
Ooh.
Now, even after she chooses renewal and is normal Tyrande again, she still is very mad at Sylvanas. But, you know, I'd much prefer in the World of Warcraft having Tyrande kick Sylvanas down to the pits of hell and then focusing on renewal of her people, but that's just me. And look, there's a lot of things about Shadowlands I can continue to talk about and how disappointing it was for the continuation of Warcraft's story, but really, I don't want this video to devolve into every single other lore video about Shadowlands that ultimately becomes Shadowlands is bad.
Yeah!
Okay, but not
that makes
everything
sense.
is horrible for the Night Elves. Tronda was given a new world seed imbued with the souls of dead Kaldorei, which most likely means we're getting a new world tree at some point, but it's currently in the Emerald Dream for safekeeping. And you know, seeing the amazing scale of Dragonflight zones, it should be pretty awesome compared to Teldrassil, which in-game was literally just a stump, surrounded by fog. And you know how I just said the seed is safe? Well, that's a goddamn lie, and the suffering of the Night Elves isn't done yet. Later on in Dragonflight, bad guys called the Primalists invade the Emerald Dream and seal it off from being accessed from Azeroth. But it can be accessed from the Shadowlands, and the only one that can do that is Ysera, the former Green Dragonflight aspect that died in Legion. In order for her to leave the realm of death of the Shadowlands called Ardenweald, she needs someone to take her place, which Malfurion agrees to do. Sound convoluted? Yeah, I know. So basically Malfurion is in timeout in the realm of death while Ysera does stuff, but eventually they'll swap places again. And in response, Tronda says what every Night Elf fan has been thinking for the majority of Warcraft's story.
Okay.
I am so tired,
No fucking shot. Wait, this is so dumb. Guys, that is so dumb. She really says that and then just fucking collapses? Oh my god. Okay, how about this? Most persistent villains in Warcraft history. Night Elves have a tendency to nap for thousands of years. Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess, but also, like, what the fuck? Oh. I just dropped my air conditioner remote. Okay, are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
The most persistent villain in Warcraft history is not who you'd expect.
Okay.
There have been lots of repeat villains, like demons from space, zombies, or old god minions. But all of these pale in comparison to the unending persistence of the Venture Company. A goblin cartel who will stop at nothing for profit. Whether that means destroying the environment, establishing relationships with morally devious business partners, or outright killing the competition. They are so persistent that they have been enemies we've had to fight in more than half of all of World of Warcraft's expansions. But first, the Venture Co was introduced in Classic WoW, and the earliest appearance of them is in the Tauren starting zone of Mulgore in the appropriately named Venture Co mine, to pilfer the homeland of the Tauren's mountains for all it's worth. And while the Tauren are a peaceful people, they weren't gonna let this go on much longer, and they attacked the Venture Co caravans escorting supplies to the mine's entrance. So in Classic WoW and in Cataclysm, players go into the Venture Co mine and kill a lot of Venture Co workers, but according to the Exploring Azeroth Kalimdor book, even to this day, the Venture Company still have a presence in Mulgore. The Venture Company also has been seen in the Barrens at the Sludge Fen. One thing you'll notice about the Venture Co that makes them different from other goblin organizations is that they are an equal opportunity employer and will hire any and all races if they're Alliance, Horde, or something in between. Well, you know, as long as they have flexible morals, of course.
Oh, I remember them now. They were like literally like they were like guarding what was it, that well, and then I almost got fucked up by them, right? That's this corporation? That's crazy. Okay. Damn.
And by far the biggest presence the company has is in the Stone Talon Mountains, in the Windshear Crag, where they are currently underway on a ruthless logging operation and clearing every single tree in sight. The leader of this operation is actually a leper gnome named Gorenzo Wrenchwhistle, who surveys the ruthless harvesting of materials from above. Gorenzo was formerly the head engineer of Gnomeregan and was infected with radiation after the city's accident. In order to mend his now rotting flesh, he has begun grafting metal and gears into his body and replacing his limbs with robotic ones.
Excuse me,
Keep
what?
in mind, all this lore, it's from classic WoW, so he was a Mechagnome before Mechagnomes were cool.
No!
Which they never were, but you get what I'm saying. Grenzo's famous invention is the Super Reaper 6000, a monolithic machine that can clear an entire forest with ease. Another iteration of the Super Reaper was also used by the company in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion in the Grizzly Hills to destroy another forest, which we'll cover later in the video, along with a lot of other crimes the Venture Co. has committed.
Okay.
Manslaughter, embezzlement, bribery, wage theft, fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, forgery, murder, assault.
Tax evasion.
But in Stonetown Mountain, unfortunately, by the time of the Cataclysm, the Venture Company had to report to their shareholders that the Windshear Crag was lost and is now fought over by the Alliance and Horde, but a few determined Venture Company employees, including Grenzo, are still defending the Water Wheel.
07, the Water Wheel.
And finally, in Classic, the company has a presence in the Stranglethorn Vale, where they're clearing even more forests and harvesting crystals, and later on in Cataclysm started operating oil rigs where they are still active by the time of the Dragonflight expansion.
You should really watch the second one from Hiruma Red X. It's a masterpiece, but it's very long. Hey, Hiruma Red X, did you hear that? Somebody's praising you. I'm gonna DM it to him so he knows, like, so he'll be happy.
But that isn't all of the company's business dealings within the Vale.
Cool.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Can I interest you in a payment plan?
Oh.
The Venture Co. has established trade negotiations with the notorious witch doctor Zanzil, who has concocted a wicked poison that can raise people in undeath. Which sounds like a product with a wide customer base, if you ask me. And the Venture Company started to export the product to seedy individuals across Azeroth like the Defias Brotherhood. Rogue players in Classic discover this grand conspiracy during their poison crafting questline. For the Alliance, they travel to Westfall, and for the Horde, they travel to the Barrens. The Grand Foreman of the Barrens Outpost is named Gallywix. Obviously, it isn't the infamous trade prince Gallywix of the Bilgewater Cartel, but perhaps it's one of his relatives, which I think is a pretty neat little detail.
Damn, I don't know if that's good.
Next, in the Burning Crusade expansion, there is some Venture Co. involvement, but it's very, very small. We can find the company in the Azure Mist Isle, the starting zone for the Draenei. To make an incredibly convoluted quest line short, a traitorous gnome who's working for Kael'thas Sunstrider has hired the Venture Company to strip mine the Draenei ship that crash landed on Azeroth called the Exodar, which perfectly encapsulates the company's greed. No, a spacecraft that is tens of thousands of years old that can transcend dimensions and warp time itself. Ooh, man. I bet there's some valuable resources on there we can harvest.
I don't know if that's
Speaking
good.
of harvesting priceless advanced materials, in the Wrath of the Lich King, the Venture Company set up Swindlegrin's Dig to harvest crystals in the Sholazar Basin. This zone was built by the Titan Keeper Freya as an area of experimentation in the creation of living things. In order to protect this petri dish of creation, 4 pillars were built to control the region's climate and protect the land from evil forces. Although they don't seem to work really well, as one of these pillars was destroyed by the Scourge, and the other is being harvested by the Venture Co., and they're digging out all of the pretty crystals. Even to this day,
the crystals!
According to the Exploring Azeroth Northrend book, the Venture Company still has a presence in this zone, and their continued pilfering of shiny crystals could lead to even more damage to the region, more than the Scourge even created.
Ooh.
And as I mentioned earlier, the Venture Co. has a presence in the Grizzly Hills at the logging camp and the Venture Bay outpost. Now there is a very small amount of company workers here. My favorite group of them is them in this building just standing here. No props, no emotes, just standing in a giant empty building. Now, the idea behind these two areas is that they're supposed to be like these big world PvP arenas, but nobody actually went to them. There were some daily quests, but like actual PvP did not happen here at all. The only footage I can find of PvP happening here is from 2015, and it's an RP PvP event.
Wait, what?
And again, according to the Exploring Azeroth Northrend book, the Venture Company still has a presence here after the Horde and the Alliance stopped fighting each other and left. Which I think is hilarious. Like, literally every single zone the Venture Company has been in that I've mentioned, they're still there and they haven't left. It's just, like, impossible to get rid of these greedy little goobers.
No, they're called goobers too. Ooh.
In the Mists of Pandaria, the company is never explicitly involved in anything on the Pandaria continent. But the Black Fuse Company goblins in the Siege of Orgrimmar might be a part of the Venture Co. Because in the next expansion, Garrosh's Iron Horde hired some Black Fuse Company mercs on an island called the Dark Tide Roost. But there's a garrison mission that says that it was actually Venture Co. mercs that were hired at the Dark Tide Roost. The only explicitly stated Venture Co. company NPCs in Draenor are in Talador, and they're operating these shredders and are dead on the ground. But this is still confirmation that they were hired by the Iron Horde. So all of this is to say, the Black Fuse Company might be a part of the Venture Co., and honestly, being heavily involved with a business partner who's a war criminal is something that I wouldn't put past them.
Yeah, I guess.
And the next time we see the company is in the battle for Azeroth, and they have a lot of cameos in this expansion. They have an oil rig in Stormsong Valley, a presence in Vol'dun. They're trying to steal resources from Mekgineer. They show up in island expeditions. They're in a random leatherworking quest in Mulgore. They steal a prized hammer from the Dark Iron Dwarves, and are a part of some obscure quest line in Teneris, revolving around a robotic parrot named Feathers, which, I didn't even know was a thing until now, to be honest. But by far the most prominent cameo of the company is in the Motherlode dungeon.
Oh shit?
You see, you gotta say it like that because it's in all caps. So during this expansion, the precious resource called Azerite was an incredibly powerful, hot commodity, and there was a huge swath of it that just appeared on the island of Kazan. The CEO of the Venture Co., Mogul Razdunk, is using the mine as an opportunity to get stupid rich and weaponize the Azerite and sell it to the highest bidder, and keep the margins as low as possible with the cheapest labor.
Hey! Where do you think you're going? I don't want to hear no more complaints about no unsafe conditions. If you're complaining, you ain't holding your breath, so it's your own fault for breathing toxic fumes.
I have like PTSD now. Holy shit. From like when I used to work at a black company. Yo, okay. Too real, guys. This is too real. Oh my god. Also, if a goblin ever yelled at me like that, on fucking god, you just punt the guy. You just punt that dude. What the fuck? Insane?
Initially, Razdunk made a deal with the Bilgewater Cartel, the goblin cartel of the Horde, to refine Azerite for them. But at the very last moment, he backed out of the deal.
What?
Putting the Horde at a disadvantage for the Azerite arms race against the Alliance.
Hey, Mr. Blightcaller, I got some bad news. Mogul Razdunk double-crossed us. It was crazy. I never seen the green bastard back out of a deal like that. You wouldn't believe. Oh.
Pull yourself together, trade prince. Such babbling does not befit a leader of the Horde.
Well, excuse me, Banshee Prince. Sorry if I'm rattled after nearly getting killed. In a deal I was against making in the first place.
The war chief will not be pleased. We were counting on Razdunk's methods of refining Azerite in our war against the Alliance.
That deal was more trouble than it was worth.
Damn.
There is an easier way to get what we want. By cutting out the middleman, if you get my drift.
Indeed.
Do we?
Champion, Head to Kazan. Acquire the Azurite refining techniques we were promised. And make Mogul Razdunk suffer for breaking his word to the Dark Lady.
Ooh.
So we, the player characters, are sent to the Motherlode to do what we do best.
Okay.
Kill everything in sight, which includes Mogul Razdunk himself.
Do you bums realize how much property damage you've done? You'll pay for that!
Bums is insane.
But Razdunk's death didn't mark the end of the Venture Co., but perhaps it's for the better. Because in the next expansion, Dragonflight, the higher-ups sent Grimilla Fizzlecrank to the Dragon Isles to see if there were any business prospects to capitalize on the Isle. But you see, Grimilla, she was so captivated by the Isle's wonder, she said, "No, not this time. We don't need to pollute this place and rob it of all of its resources.
Wow.
It's just too beautiful to do something like that."
Wow.
And you know what? That makes sense. This is Dragonflight, the friendship expansion, where everyone gets to hold hands and work together as one. All for the greater... Well, guess what? That was a f***ing lie. Why would you ever believe anything the Venture Co. mercs say? Grimilla Fizzlecrank is a fake and a fraud because the Forbidden Reach is covered in Venture Company looters raiding the island for its priceless artifacts.
Damn!
And their involvement doesn't stop in the current expansion, The War Within, either. The company has committed a hostile takeover of the Cinder Brew meadery on the Isle of Dorn, and has trapped all of the molten bees and has increased mead production tenfold. The leader of this operation is my favorite Venture Co. NPC, Goldie Baronbottom, who is the self-proclaimed BEO. But you know, we go in and we kill all the Venture Co. employees in a typical fashion. They can also...
Do you think Venture Co. employees get health benefits? Because, like, considering, like, the player characters just, like, murder them, do you think they get, like, a good, like, I don't know, like, death, like, you know, bonus thing? Goblins don't get benefits? Ooh, absolutely not. 07. Okay, they're just getting, like, taken advantage of then. Oof. We are the health benefits. Oh, we free them from, like, captivity by, like, killing them? That's kind of insane.
To be seen in the Ringing Deeps where they're stealing some Titan artifacts. And finally, the Venture Co. can be found in Aj Kahet, where they've been hired by some of the Nerubians in a grand scheme to take down Queen Anzarek.
Okay.
The goblins found themselves in Aj Kahet because they dug through the earth from the Undermine, the goblin capital of Azeroth, and that's going to be the next featured zone in the upcoming patch for The War Within. Which I'm sure the Venture Co. will have plenty of screen time in. And that's all of the company's involvement so far, which, like I said, is a lot of screen time for a faction in the game that is kind of inconsequential in the grand scheme of the universe. This isn't some big existential threat like the Legion, Scourge, or the Void. It's just a bunch of jackasses with shovels. But
Duck Rate? Duck Rate Kana? Kana, oh my god, hi! My OBS is not showing rates right now. I don't know why. They low-key hate me. But, holy shit, hi! Oh my god, I just jump scared myself. But thank you so much for the raid, Kana. Thank you. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Miwabelle. Also from... From Glitch Stars. Why am I blinking right now? Oh my god, my head's hurting. But I'm from Glitch Stars, and if you guys don't know who I am literally stupid right now. I've drank like 2 cans of Monster, and like my brain is like blinking. OBS hates me. OBS like absolutely hates me. Oh my goodness. Anyways, we're currently watching WoW videos because why not? I kind of like... Well, I'm absorbing? Yeah, why can't I say the word absorbing? If your stream wasn't an April Fool's joke stream... Oh, we already did the April Fool's joke stream. It was great. Kidbats for hate glitching. Thank you. I'm literally stupid right now. That's a horrible thing to say. I'm literally low-key a little stupid right now because like we've been watching like 2 hours of WoW lore. No, 3 hours of WoW lore, and like, oh my god. Like, wow. Yeah, you guys gotta factory reset me for reals. Anyways, are you guys ready to unpause the video in 3, 2, 1?
I think the reason why they are so common in each expansion
Oh,
is that
yeah?
they're just really easy to write into a story of a zone. For each expansion,
That
Blizzard
makes
needs to fill
sense.
zones with mobs for us to fight, and these mobs need stories for why they're there in that zone in the first place.
Uh-huh.
For the Venture Co., it's so incredibly easy to write them in.
Capitalism.
Why are they there? Money. No complicated culture that can create inconsistencies, no confusion as to why they're there in the first place, no convoluted backstory. The backstory is just profit.
Capitalism,
There's a brutal honesty
baby.
that comes with a venture company that I think is a breath of fresh air in the Warcraft universe.
I guess. I mean, they're
Speaking
evil.
of, this video is sponsored by me. The Warcraft universe is outrageously big, and a lot of the more nuanced parts of the narrative are not told in game. They're told in external books and short stories. If you visit my Patreon, you can fully immerse yourself in these stories, narrated by me, which include music, ambience, and sound effects, which brings the source material to life. Currently, there's almost 5 hours of narrated immersive content and a new story is uploaded each month. And you can listen to all of them for just $5 a month and support the channel in the process. And most importantly, you can sign up for free to listen to previews for each of these stories. So go visit my Patreon, patreon.com/platinumwow, to get hours worth of content for just a few dollars a month. And of course, thanks for watching.
Wait, should I sign up for his Patreon? Because that honestly sounds really cool. Wait, should I do it, guys? And he's a friend? Oh my god. Not him being a bestie. There's like one video I want to watch. Let me see if I can find it. How Medivh doomed the Warcraft universe. Cause like Medivh is like the guy who was like really like bad at the start. No, he was like. Wait, I need to remember the lore. Medivh is a guy who had like a shard of the what's his name in him, right? Or something like that. But yeah. Heck Medivh. With what money? Shut up, Huntail. Wait. Logs, are you there? Can I sign up for his what if I signed up for his Patreon? His mommy was a girl failure? I have no idea. Oh. Yeah, he was possessed by like Sargeras, right? Is the only guy I see for lore? See, there's another content creator that we really like on this channel called Hiruma Red X. I wonder if you've ever heard of him. He is my boss and I will gas him up like crazy. Are you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1.
The events of Warcraft 1, 2, 3, and World of Warcraft can be traced back to a moment that changed Azeroth forever.
Okay.
The Dark Portal is one of the most iconic images in Warcraft, and the person who is largely responsible for it is Medivh, the supposed
what is that zoom in?
of Azeroth that doomed the planet instead.
Oh, you fucked shit up.
And if you did, do you even know the details of the rest of his story? Probably not, since his story has mainly been told to players through books or disconnected, awkward cutscenes in-game. And really the most cohesive way his story has been told to non-readers is the Warcraft movie, which isn't even exactly canon. And also, that sucked. Also, did you know that Medivh made a giant carnivorous beetle that destroyed entire forests?
What?
Yes, no, that is real lore. I'll explain in this This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and without their support, large-scale content like this wouldn't even be possible.
By the way, we are going to be watching it because we support our fellow content creators by helping them get that bag. We don't skip this shit.
You know Raid. You love Raid, and if you don't know Raid, Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play RPG
You know who
battle
loves
system
Raid?
game with hundreds
Duologs.
of champions for you to collect. Do you want to know why I love Raid? Well, let me just spell it out for you.
Why?
R. Revenue. Nope, no, just kidding. R. Regular updates so I never get bored of playing this game. A. Arena mode. Now this is actually my favorite. A PvP mode where I get to pwn noobs. I, Groth, the Eternal Dragon. Because she's a dragon. And D, the Demon Lord. A massive challenge where I need to use my best heroes to defeat him, and he looks pretty cool, am I right? Right now, there are only a few days left for the special Valentine's Day event, with a themed adventure called Raid Love Quest.
Copy your player ID and head to this URL.
Love
and
quest.
you can play mini-games with a chance to win in-game and real-life prizes, like Valentine's-themed raid champions and Amazon gift cards. But wait, there's more. New players, hey, if you're new, use my link or scan the QR code right here, and you can get a free starter pack with all this cool in-game loot. Again, thank you, Raid, for sponsoring this video. Check it out to support the channel, and on with the video. Our story begins 823 years before the Dark Portal.
Okay.
At this time, the most powerful mage in all of Azeroth was a human woman named Egwene. She was the guardian of Tirisfal, a very important role on Azeroth, where basically a bunch of mages channel their power into you, and you become the sole protector of the entire planet against the demonic legion.
Get back, you demonic beast!
Egwene clashed with the avatar of Sargeras on the snowy peaks of Northrend. The two fought with righteous fury, but Egwene defeated the manifestation of the Dark Titan. Little did she know, this was only a modicum of his power. The essence of the Dark God infiltrated himself into Egwene and would hide in the deep recesses of her soul, waiting to strike again. Egwene transported the body of the avatar of Sargeras to the Temple of Elune and imprisoned it with highborn seals. Years and years later, this temple would become corrupted and would be renamed to the Tomb of Sargeras, and players would fight the avatar of Sargeras during the Legion expansion. Now back to Egwene. She was understandably very cocky after thinking she just defeated a god in a one-on-one duel. Over time, she would grow distant from the Council of Tirisfal, the mages that gave her this awesome power in the first place. They wanted her to use her powers for political manipulation, despite the role of the Guardian being made specifically for the protection of Azeroth, and only that.
Yeah, so what the heck?
Egwene hid away from the council and created the magical Tower of Karazhan that was built on the ley lines of Azeroth. Eventually, the council would attempt to steal Egwene's powers by force, so she fled to Suramar to escape their wrath. There she met a human named Aeneas Aran who was supposed to stop her, but the two would instead fall in love and have a child.
Goo, goo, ga, ga. I am a baby, and my name is
No
Medivh.
way.
Medivh was born a baby.
Guys, imagine e-dating in WoW. How many of these like relationships just basically stem from they were enemies, but then they met on the battlefield and fell in love? How many? Like, I feel like it's happened so many times. It's kind of insane. Enemies to lovers, it's kind of like they're kind of doing it a lot, huh?
A baby with a curse. The essence of Sargeras had transferred itself from Egwene to her newborn son, who would continue to lie in wait for a moment to strike. The powers Egwene possessed were transferred to her son, but would not be active until